56%. Chapter 221. The Land of Trials. Chu Yun suspected that he was poisoned milk. Shish. I didn't expect that I would have a chance to know such heaven and earth. Mi Shin. 55. Is it the origin of the evil cultivators outside the region? 39. Quite possibly. Since ancient times, there has been no absolute evil and righteous force, only those who have mastered the power of evil and justice, and those extraterritorial evil demons are bent on destruction, which is simply inhumane. No wonder the major holy places will join forces to block the evil path, perhaps because these methods are from evil demons. This is the common enemy of the Xuantian continent. Beside Zhang Chushuan, Ni Fengyan, Shui Qiancheng and other real people in the Jaden realm who had gradually integrated into the Yanwang dynasty heard Zhang Chushuan's popular science and discussed it enthusiastically after a brief loss of consciousness. When fish jump out of the pond, they do not necessarily enter the wider ocean, but may also face greater danger and confusion. But in the past 6 months, everyone has experienced too many shocks in the Yanwang dynasty, and the exercises, heavenly treasures, elixirs, etc. have impacted their hearts countless times. The news, though too shocking, was also very acceptable. Master, does the meaning of the Gen Evil Land mean that there are powerful demons being suppressed under this secret realm? 33 Handan Li, who was taken by Zhang Jingxuan's side, suddenly asked. Handan Li's strength is still very weak, although he has all kinds of resources given by Zhang Chushuan. After all, it has only been a week of kryptonite gold outside world and his strength has barely reached the peak of the refining body realm, opening 54 blood tricks. Before coming to the Tianyuan Trench, Zhang Chushuan remembered that he had promised to accept him as a black dragon armor warrior, and after receiving him in the sky, he was accepted as an apprentice. The son of the heavenly Tao, with outstanding luck, can obtain many benefits such as improving his own luck by accepting an apprentice, just like Chu Yun. Especially considering the type of son of luck in Handai, Zhang Chushuan also asked Zhang Jingxuan to take people with him by the way. Yes, there is a powerful demon sealed underneath here. Zhang Chushuan chose to conceal it and nodded and replied, this demon is also the culprit that led to the destruction of the Devouring Temple. The Lord of the Devouring Temple, the Devouring Saint Venerable, sealed it with the combined power of his own entire sect master's life, which could have been refined after 10,000 years, but for some reasons, it is still alive until now. Speaking of this, Zhang Chushuan flashed a trace of solemnity. This is a quasi-emperor. Being able to seal it shows how powerful this seal is, and the devouring ancient monument, as a sealing carrier, itself is also a small world of its own, which can be described as amazingly valuable. As far as Zhang Chushuan knew, there were not a few dynasties and holy places in the Dongshuan domain that had fought the idea of devouring ancient monuments, and many great saint-level existences had made moves, but all of them ended in failure. The quasi-emperor and the emperor can't look at this place, or they know something so they didn't rush out, and the great sage-level existence is simply unable to break the strong seal, and it can't take away the stone tablet at all. Later, this stone steel was suspected of dropping in rank, and the realm of cultivators who could enter was not high, and there were not many benefits that could be given, and over time, no one came to this Dongshuan domain, and it was ignored after renting. And the destruction of the Devouring Temple also directly led to the rapid decline of the Zhou domain group in the southwest of the Dongshuan domain, especially the part where Lingzhou domain was located, which was also a holy place and a flourishing place in the Dongshuan domain before the destruction of the Devouring Temple, but now it has completely lost its attention. Master, then my inability to fly also has something to do with the evil land. Chu Yun levitated with the help of Zhang Yanren and flew to Zhang Chushuan and asked. Just a little time ago, there began to be more and more people around to cook hearts, and the strength was the second time was the transformation of the Jaden realm, and many of them had even reached the level of a half-step true monarch. As soon as many of these people appeared, they stood high in the sky, overlooking heaven and earth, but not many of them could think that Zhang Chushuan would always float, and it didn't take long for them to fly to the ground and stand on the ground. The Jaden realm is still like this, he can't fly in the incarnation spirit realm, and it seems that he has also said it. Zhang Chushuan nodded lightly and explained, this is the place where the Holy Venerable is used to seal the evil demons, and it has its own power to suppress it. If you want to fly in the space that devours the ancient monument, you need to resist a huge pressure from the rules, and if you want to float at low altitude, the Jaden realm can barely do it, but the mana will be very fierce, and finally use your body method to rush. If you want to fly at a high altitude, it is also possible for the strong of the Divine Mansion realm to do it. Speaking of which, the flight rules are such a limitation. Each side of the heaven and earth can be set by itself, and some dynasties' heavy cities also have forbidden air arrays, and they can't fly if they don't have enough strength. This is actually the test of devouring ancient monuments for every person who enters. The weaker the strength, the lower the energy vortex entered, the more peripheral the position that appears in the secret realm, the lower the test faced, and the worse the benefits that can be reaped. And the weaker the strength, the slower the rush. The stone monument is only open for a total of 7 days, and the weak cannot even pass through the central area, and good things have no chance to be obtained. And the stronger the strength, the more inward the teleportable location, the more advanced the test you face, and the more benefits you reap. And the stronger the strength, the faster the rush, and the more able to rush inside. Of course, there are some strong people with special means who can resist those pressures, but this is part of the strength. For example, Zhang Chushuan's current strength is at the peak of the divine mansion realm, and he can completely ignore the pressure around him, and even if he feels that his strength is more powerful, he may not be able to enter the stone-steel secret realm, and he will not even have the opportunity to find a chance to devour the holy rune at that time. I can sense that this world has a strong repulsive force against outsiders, and the stronger the strength, the stronger the repulsion. Zhang Yanran suddenly said. Fortunately, there doesn't seem to be any danger here. Chu Yun looked around. This is a vast, boundless space. Scattered figures around appear. The first time they swept in the direction of the building, along the road did not encounter danger. It is obvious that they were teleported to a relatively safe area. Thinking of his experience in the king's tomb, he felt that there was no danger in this secret realm, and as long as he passed the corresponding test, he could get a reward. Not dangerous. As soon as Chu Yun's voice fell, Zhang Chushuan couldn't help but shake his head. Boom. Without waiting for Chu Yun to ask, he only heard a bang resound throughout this heaven and earth, and the entire ground below began to shake. Countless people trembled, looked in a certain direction, and suddenly saw a huge mountain bag appear on the ground somewhere and then cracked a huge crack, and a huge black snake with a body length of more than dozens of feet drilled out from the ground, casually spitting out black slime towards a real person in the Jaden realm not far away. Sting tilde operator. This black slime had some kind of psychedelic effect, and the eyes of the real person of the Jaden realm were in a trance. Just this momentary loss of consciousness caused him to lose his life. Bang! The pitch black slime poured on such a real person in the Jaden realm, and his body suddenly began to melt, and even the scream, the money turned into a pool of blood and a golden pill before it could be issued. The big snake pounced on it, and swallowed Jaden with a fierce mouthful. Prick! Swallowing a person, the pitch black serpent returned to the ground at the first time, leaving only a huge head exposed, and a pair of golden vertical pupils issued a gloomy gaze, sweeping over everyone. When its gaze rested on Zhang Chushuan, its pupils almost turned round, and it immediately turned around and burrowed into the ground, disappearing in the blink of an eye. Duh! Looking at this scene, Chu Yun couldn't help but secretly swallow a mouthful of spit. It seems that this test in the secret realm of the ancient monument is much more difficult than he imagined. The strange black aura is cold and fierce, and it can kill the real person of the Jaden realm in a second by surprise. First of all, it is not an ordinary good kind. Phew, it's okay, I have a teacher by my side. Chu Yun comforted himself in his heart, but he heard Zhang Chushuan speak. Next in the limelight, I will go to the core area of this secret realm first. Chu Yun, what's going on? Could it be that he is the poisonous milk in the mouth of the master? 56%. Chapter 222 Chu Yun. Just follow the master subscription. Shish. Such a terrible big guy. This is also a test. Chu Yun and the others showed confused expressions. Isn't this test of the Jaden realm too much? I'm afraid that only the strong of the divine mansion realm can get rich. This is normal. Baitanur was not as fussy as others, and said in a flat tone. This ancient monument has become a small world of its own. It has existed for so long and no one has cleaned it up, and it is normal for some fierce beasts used to test people to pass down and become stronger. 5. However, since this obelisk is still running, then the test formation should also be running, and there is no need to worry about the existence of more than the divine mansion realm. The test formation is a special formation. There are powerful forces specially built in the secret realm. If there are some fierce beasts with a realm exceeding a certain height, they will use the killing array to kill them or legend it to an ironclad location. That's not good news. Chu Yun showed a bitter face. The strongest on our side is the master, but... The latter words, Chu Yun did not say, but everyone understood. Zhang Chushuan had just said that he would act separately, and if they encountered the danger of the divine mansion realm, they felt that they could not resist at all. You don't have to panic. Zhang Chushuan easily saw through the thoughts of Chu Yun and the others, and said with a smile, "For this secret realm, I know a little secret letter about 283. 99. Back then, in order to avoid someone breaking the seal, the devouring Saint Venerable left a lot of hindhands in this small world that devoured ancient monuments, coupled with the erosion of the years. Many residual thoughts that the devouring temple dead could not detach were transformed, and they solidified in this space that devoured ancient monuments, and they all held the belief in front of them, that is, to destroy evil demons." Quote. And the fierce beast you saw just now has actually eroded into an evil demon beast without the evil chi, understand? Zhang Chushuan isn't worried about the men in danger. It must be known that the consciousness of the devouring saint has not completely dissipated. Although the quasi-emperor under the stone tablet is recovering and eroding, the control of this space is still in the hands of the human race. According to the original trajectory, when Chu Yun arrived at this secret realm 3 years later, he could still see the remnant soul consciousness of the devouring holy venerable, and obtained the devouring holy rune after some exchange. 12 years later, Chu Yun returned with 3 holy runes, and the devouring Saint Venerable even repaired the seal by burning the remnant soul, so that the 7th Emperor Venerable broke free 30 years late. At that time, Chu Yun already had the power of a quasi-emperor, and after mastering the 8 holy runes, he annihilated them in life. So, there's no need to worry about it now. It turns out that there are still heroic spirits guarding. Chu Yun and the others' eyes lit up, and they reacted one after another. Those fierce beasts will become evil demonic beasts after being contaminated with the evil aura, and it just so happens that there are inseparable Terran strong souls in this heaven and earth, and with the passage of time, they have condensed the heroic soul body, then they must sweep away those powerful evil monsters according to their current obsession. Therefore, this heaven and earth are dangerous, but they must be controlled to a certain extent. Okay, I'll go first, you guys look for opportunities. Quote. If you encounter danger, Zhao Yun will protect you. 99. Zhao Yun's strength has long been raised to the divine mansion realm, and the ancient heroic spirits of the Terran race who have been blessed by the system are not casual to talk about. Reassuring everyone, Zhang Chushuan stepped out and disappeared into the rest of the land with Baitanur and treasure seeker Wu Yanxi. Everyone immediately looked at each other, and for a long time, Han Li came to a position slightly closer to Zhang Yanren, took a breath and sighed, "There is such a rich heaven and earth aura here." Han Li's voice was filled with shock, and the spiritual energy of heaven and earth here was so rich that it could be directly touched by the body. The Holy Land definitely has a special means of condensing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, and it is normal to use this secret realm to cultivate disciples under the sect, far from being comparable to the outside world. Chu Yun swept Han Li, followed close to Zhang Yanren, and explained at the same time, "One day of cultivation here is worth a few days of work outside." Quote. I don't know if it's an illusion. Han Li felt a trace of the first from Chu Yun, but it was not too small, and nodded. Thank you, senior brother Kopu, this is really a treasure land, it would be great if you can cultivate here for a long time. 9. Those disciples of the Holy Land are truly blessed. Han Li's voice was full of envy. Cultivating in this kind of place will definitely increase the speed by several times. He has a heavenly bearing bottle, and the speed of accumulating spiritual nourishment and improving the spiritual medicine level can be many times faster, and it is easy to get rich. Where is this? Chu Yun pouted and said proudly. Junior brother, that is you who don't understand the strength of my Yanwang dynasty, and you don't understand the strength of Master Zun very basic means. When you go back this time, you will know, why envy others. Chu Yun was originally just a country boy from a small town, so he really let him rely on his own strength to obtain the qualification to come to this secret realm, and his mood was afraid that he was not much different from Handy. But now that he has become a disciple of Zhang Chushuan, all kinds of martial arts and elixir treasures that were previously out of reach are almost to the point of wanting to have them. Over time, his vision has improved a lot, and he is not comparable to the same country boy in Handy who has just received the treasure from Zhang Chushuan. Thank you, senior brother, for teaching. Senior brother, keep it in mind. Han Li's face showed anticipation. 99. Zhang Yanren interrupted the two. His eyes swept around, and said in a deep voice, how should we go now? This ancient monument space is too vast, and there is no edge around it. This is not the tomb of the king. Just walk along the road to the end, can be called a small world by Zhang Chushuan of the secret realm. The vastness of the territory is afraid that it will not be lower than the land of a county. In the case of difficult flight, wandering indiscriminately will waste time. And this is a week of being turned on, and wasting time on the road is certainly not worth it. Suddenly there were no Zhang Chushuan and Wu Yanxi, and Zhang Yanren was a little dazed for a while. This kind of secret realm exists in the core area, and most of the really good things are there, so let's go. Zhang Jingshuan stood up and said. Everyone nodded one after another. Since time is limited, it must be to obtain more valuable things as much as possible. But when everyone looked around, it was difficult to distinguish that it was the core area. Maybe just find a random direction to try it first. Go in that direction, it must be where the core area is. Chu Yun stretched out his finger and pointed to the northwest, with a determined expression. How can you be sure? Zhang Yanren asked curiously. Everyone else also looked at him with curiosity. Zhang Yanren and Zhao Yun, who are the strongest in strength, don't know how to discern the direction. Why should Chu Yun? Could it be that Zhang Chushuan gave him some kind of special method? What's so hard about that? Chu Yun touched his nose and said with a confident face. I paid special attention to it just now. The master is going in that direction. His old man must be going to the core area, right? It makes sense. Indeed, Zhang Chushuan could not have chosen wrong. You're so smart. The corner of Zhang Yanren's mouth twitched. It feels that it is not that Chu Yun is smart, but that they are too stupid. In the blink of an eye, it was a day later. Zhang Chushuan spent the day on the road. The more you go to the core, the more pressure you get. However, with his strength, it took Chu Yun 6 days and 6 nights to walk the road in one day is very easy. Even with Baitanur and Wu Yanxi, that speed is not comparable to others. Soon, Zhang Chushuan pulled to a mountain peak on the edge of the most central area. Feeling the strange fluctuations in a certain direction, a glimmer of expectation flashed in his eyes. Finally here, whether I can get rich or not, it depends on whether my mouth is strong enough next. 56%. Chapter 223. No one knows this secret realm better than me, devouring holy runes. The core area that devours the small world of the holy monument is also extremely vast. Rao is Zhang Chushuan's skillful way of shrinking into inches, and it took half an hour to walk through the case with Wu Yanxi and Bai Tanur before faintly seeing the end. This devouring temple is really worthy of the remnant secret realm of the Sanpan Holy Land. This is this small piece of stone monument remnant place, and the scale is also more than many secret realms. The deeper into the core area, the vicissitudes and loneliness scattered in this small world became more and more intense, causing Wu Yanxi and Bai Tanur to sigh. Zhang Chushuan didn't say anything, and rushed to his own way. About a quarter of an hour later, his eyes lit up and he said in surprise, "That's right, it's the front." When the words fell, Zhang Chushuan picked up speed again. After about a moment of incense, according to the special induction of the runes in the Divine Palace, Zhang Chushuan finally took the 2 women to the center of the core area that devoured the small world of the sacred monument. What the hell are you looking for? Wu Yanxi finally couldn't help but ask curiously. For a treasure seeker, nothing can arouse her blood more than exploring mausoleums and secret realms. If there must be, it is probably fighting, eating food, minus getting xenomorph ice and so on. Well, there are still a lot of things that can excite her. For Zhang Chushuan's purposeful rush, she has always been curious in her heart, but because the passing by Tanur did not ask, she felt that as a martial artist she had to sink down, so she endured it without asking. But now, she couldn't help it. Wu Yanxi didn't know. When she asked, Bai Tanur felt relieved. It's almost me asking, but it's a step slow. Quote. There is a hidden puppet little secret realm here. The corners of Zhang Chushuan's mouth were slightly upturned. And his answer immediately attracted all the attention of Wu Yanxi and Bai Tanur. There are actually puppets. The puppet is not a simple thing in the Xuantian continent, but a special weapon refined by a powerful refiner. Generally speaking, the lowest puppets need a yellow rank upper grade refiner to try to refine and also need to cultivate the way of talismans. The worst puppet is also the yellow rank, comparable to ordinary gathering spirit realm cultivators, and the hardness of the body can be compared with the physical cultivation. Golem refining involves refining mystical methods and talismans, because controlling puppets requires putting some kind of special talisman into it, so that the divine mind can stay overnight, to a level similar to the upper body of the soul. At that time, fighting with puppets is like using doppelgangers to fight. Whether it is a refining tool or a refining talisman, it requires strong spiritual power to achieve, so the person who controls the puppet must be good at spiritual ways. It just so happens that Zhang Chushuan is a person who has achieved great achievements in spiritual power. With the combination of his sword intent plus sword intent and ice spirit eyes, it is like a fish in water in this small world of devouring holy monuments. Not only can it avoid risks, but it is even easier to perceive the puppet in advance. What rank puppets are there here? Bai Tenur asked curiously. Zhang Chushuan's strength is strong enough, and the true monarch of the divine mansion realm is cultivated, but it is easy to destroy the power of the local saint lord. Although this is nothing in the imperial clan, referring to Zhang Chushuan's current age and the time he has this strength, the latter is even more amazing. Especially after accepting Yi Zai's invitation to join the Yanwang dynasty during this time, he saw many of the background of the Yanwang dynasty or Zhang Chushuan. Under the same realm, it is simply better than the treatment she enjoyed when she was still in the imperial clan land everywhere, and there was even a tendency to be hanged. Zhang Chushuan's background can be described as bottomless, anyway, it cannot be underestimated. So let Zhang Chushuan, who has such a background, think this puppet is not ordinary, right? The puppets inside are general, just a few Saint Lord levels, dozens of heavenly steps and hundreds of earth levels. Zhang Chushuan said nonchalantly, while carefully observing the environment ahead. That's it. Wu Yanxi's expression was a little subtle. Even if he came from a fourth-rank power, he did not dare to say that a few Saint Lord levels, dozens of heavenly ranks, and hundreds of earth levels were true. If this is used well, it will be a valuable asset for the forces of the four products. But for Zhang Chushuan, these things are really nothing, even after a 100-fold increase. To be precise, it's not that these things can't work, but in front of such a supreme treasure as devouring holy runes, it is tantamount to fireflies and bright moons competing for brilliance, which is incomparable. Just then, compared to Wu Yanxi, Bai Tenur thought a lot more. She could tell that Zhang Chushuan really didn't put the puppet in his eyes. But Zhang Chushuan's performance at this time was a little excited. So, there are also items of much higher value than these puppets. Arrived, Zhang Chushuan is still carefully observing the environment ahead. At this time, he had already arrived at a mountain peak, and when he looked down, he could see strange rocks, and there were special towers for cultivation divided according to special formations. But from the analysis of these remaining architectural relics, it is not difficult to think of how powerful it was in the heyday of the devouring temple. Speaking of which, after tens of thousands of years, it is normal that the small world of devouring the sacred monument that will be open to the outside world in 3 years will not be seen by people. After all, according to the immediacy of normal people, the various cultivation resources remaining in the small world, such as heavenly materials and earth treasures, etc., must be decreasing with time, and it is better to open them once. There have also been places where martial arts have been passed down for a long time and still retain their previous value, because they are reusable resources. But only Zhang Chushuan knew that over the years, as the devouring Saint Venerable continued to extract the energy of the stone steel and the quasi-emperor under the seal resisted, although many inheritances were still there, the stone steel had no way to pass it on anymore. Devouring the inheritance of the temple, if there is no accident, it can be regarded as severed. Now devouring the things in the small world of the holy monument, on the surface, there is nothing worthy of the attention of the strong people above the divine mansion realm. Perhaps it was precisely for this reason that the puppet secret realm was not discovered, and it always existed below, and finally fell into Chu Yun's hands along with the devouring rune. Zero asking for flowers. That's right, this is it. Leaping high from the peak, Zhang Chushuan led his 2 daughters to a mountain forest wrapped in thick fog. These dense fogs not only obscure people's vision, but also have the effect of blocking people's spiritual power. Ordinary people here, afraid that every step is very difficult. But Zhang Chushuan opened his eyes and released the light of the fire lotus, and these dense fogs did not exist for him, and they could not create any obstacles. Holding the hands of Wu Yanxi and Bai Tenur, Zhang Chushuan took the 2 daughters to hike through the mountains and forests for about a while, stopping at a stone gate built on the mountain that was beaten up. This stone door is unusually tall, with a simple vicissitudes, and it looks very simple. Various runes are carved on the stone door, and even after 10,000 years of baptism, Zhang Chushuan still feels the strength of that spiritual power. Squeak. Zhang Chushuan did not hesitate, according to the method obtained in the book, directly sacrificed the rune stone, and then pushed the door and entered. The gate opened, and 10 long dark paths appeared. Bang! Without waiting for anyone to look at it carefully, a faint light appeared on the 10 roads. Without thinking, Zhang Chushuan took the 2 women into the nearest road. Don't look at so many roads as if you have to choose, in fact, the final destination is the same. The stone passage was not long, and in a few moments, some huge circular corridors appeared in front of Zhang Chushuan and the 3, and the steps reached the depths of the earth, like a man-eating black hole. There are large holes in the wall next to the cloister, and inside the large hole is a humanoid puppet. What a puppet. Wu Yanxi and Bai Tenur's expressions changed slightly. Zhang Chushuan didn't pay attention to so much, and didn't jump directly with the two women and jump down to the cloister. Here, there is a black altar. At this time, Bai Tenur finally couldn't help but ask again, Zhang Chushuan, what exactly are you looking for? How do I feel as if you've been here? It's like coming home. It's familiar to you. I've never been here, but there really is no one more of this secret realm than me. Zhang Chushuan looked at the black altar and finally stopped hiding it. The things here, once they are born, the entire Xuantian continent will boil. Quote. Even the imperial clan you are from will be moved. Whoever can get it is equivalent to getting a pass to the top powerhouse of the Tianshuan continent. But hearing his words, Bai Tenur didn't believe it very much. The top powerhouse of the Xuantian continent just has to be a great sage of the Enlightenment realm. The great sage exists, and the imperial clan does not dare to guarantee that it can be easily cultivated. What is capable of it? At this moment, Zhang Chushuan's slightly chuckling voice sounded, causing Bai Tenur and Wu Yanxi's pupils to shrink sharply. Here, there is a holy rune. And it is recognized as the strongest, devouring runes. River. 56%. Chapter 224 Extremely Cold Treasure, Silver Altar, Devouring Saint Runes. Devouring Runes. Bai Tenur's phoenix eyes suddenly shrank. Wu Yanxi is no better than her, and her peerless face is full of shock. There are a total of 8 holy runes, a treasure famous in the Xuantian continent, which is the object of heaven and earth, and it is said that the combination is far beyond the ordinary imperial weapon, but so far I have not heard of anyone who has mastered more than one holy rune, and the power of the combination of holy runes beyond the imperial weapon is more just a legend. But even so, the 8 holy runes, the 8 laws, this is not a rumor. The holy rune itself is also a continent-level holy artifact comparable to a quasi-imperial weapon, containing certain rules of the heavenly Tao, such as the Flame Holy Rune, which is now still enshrined in the Yipan Holy Land of the northern Zan region, controlled by the Lord of the Holy Land, Red Flame Emperor, and can collide with at least 3 beings of the same realm. It is also a fact that Zhang Chushuan said that the pass of the top powerhouse of the continent is also a fact. The prefix of the great sage is the realm of enlightenment, the enlightenment of the law, the comprehension of a certain law of the heavenly Tao, and when the great sage comprehends a certain law of the heavenly Tao to perfection, he will be promoted to the quasi-emperor. The quasi-emperor began to 283, to try to control the laws of the heavenly Tao, and when he fully mastered a law of the heavenly Tao, he could enter the realm of the great emperor, reach the top of the middle thousand worlds on one side, establish friendly relations with the nether heavenly Tao, have equal dialogues, and go to the upper realm. There are still laws of the avenue above the heavenly path, and there are laws of chaos above the avenue, but those are all afterwards, and Wu Yanxi and Bai Tenur don't know. But the two women knew the laws of the heavenly Tao, knew that the holy rune was the incarnation of some kind of heavenly Tao law, and if they could get the approval of a holy rune, they could contact the power of the law in advance, and it was natural to advance to the great saint realm in the future. If you can refine a holy rune, you can reach the quasi-emperor realm, and even go to the extreme and take the last step to become an emperor. Runes, passes, not at all. And the 8 holy runes, the 8 laws of the heavenly Tao, it is reasonable to say that there is no distinction between high and low. But in fact, the devouring saint symbol is the most mysterious and the only one that can be combined with other saint symbols, so it is the most powerful. The devouring saint rune has not appeared for 30,000 years, could it be that it was mastered by the devouring saint venerable? But how did Zhang Chushuan know? Let's go, I'll know when I see you. Zhang Chushuan isn't going to explain much. What is the truth? Bai Tenur and Wu Yanxi immediately saw it. As for how he knew about this secret realm and how he knew about the devouring holy rune, there was no need to say anything at all. As for worrying about Wu Yanxi and Bai Tenur passing the news out. Learn about the avenue-level invincible field, and understand the fishing law enforcement. What's more, he has a 100-fold amplification system, and it is not a problem to come up with 100 devouring holy runes, even if the news leaks, he can throw one to divert his gaze. All in all, foolproof. At the same time, by the way, I will test Wu Yanxi and Bai Tenur. If you don't betray him, it doesn't hurt to accept it. Zhang Chushuan brought the two women to the altar, and then reached out to the void somewhere. This altar is just a disguise, or not just an altar, but also a teleportation array, a trapped enchantment, an inheritance platform, and an altar. 4 directions of use, corresponding to 4 opening methods. Among them, the method of using the teleportation array is rarely known. In the original trajectory, Chu Yun was also lucky to open the dish, and then saw the remnant soul of the devouring saint, to some broken inheritance and devouring holy runes. But Zhang Chushuan knows everything and can control it himself. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The altar was activated, and the three of them arrived in front of a dark cave after a round of turmoil. Phew, phew. Zhang Chushuan had just taken the two women into the cave when several blue winds shot at their faces, carrying some kind of extremely cold current. These hallyu are used from the end of the cave and quickly condense at the top of the cave, forming cold clouds that fill the cave. Shish. Is this a cloudy and freezing wind? The sky cloudy and freezing wind that claims to be able to freeze everything, even the spirit of the gods. It's dangerous. Wu Yanxi and Bai Ten'er's expressions changed suddenly. This day of the cloudy and freezing wind is not an ordinary cold thing, but a kind of Saint Lord level to cold chi. Below the Saint Lord level, even the physical cultivation that specializes in physical fitness will be frozen into ice by time, and then shattered with a light touch. Even if it is a Saint Lord level power, it is difficult to survive this kind of cold. If there is no special means, even the divine soul will be frozen, and then turn into a part of the cold. If it was in its heyday, Wu Yanxi was not afraid at all, and she was even happy to see so many cloudy and freezing winds, which could be put away and used as a kind of whole card, but now she is just a divine soul comparable to the power of the Holy Lord. I am afraid that she will finish playing as soon as she is blown up. Bai Ten'er was extraordinary, but even more afraid. What kind of fire phoenix nirvana holy body? Before it grows up, it is still a scum when it encounters this cold thing. It's cloudy and cold. Good things, you can take it back to improve Yan Ran's strength and exercises. Zhang Chushuan and the two women behaved completely differently, smiled playfully, and stepped in. Give me melt. When the sky was cloudy and the freezing wind blew, Zhang Chushuan didn't care, but let out a low sigh, ran the Ice Heart Immortal Sutra, and opened an ability to swallow the vortex. Those weird sky clouds and freezing winds suddenly seemed to come to life, frantically rushing towards the vortex and entering Zhang Chushuan's body. Wu Yanxi's soul was shocked. She obviously felt that Zhang Chushuan's soul power was even stronger than her, although Shenfu and Yuanyu had not yet fused into a divine soul, but the degree of condensation was also harder than her zero. But how is this possible? He used to be a king. The strength of the divine soul has reached the level of being immortal and traveling to heaven and earth, but he can mobilize the spiritual energy of 100 miles with a single thought, even if the soul power has decreased now, but the essence of the divine soul is not. Actually can't compare to Zhang Chushuan, a true monarch whose face is not even a Saint Lord level. Oh, by the way, the seniors are the reincarnation of the quasi-emperor. Wu Yanxi found himself killed. What is the remnant soul of his own king? Is there a quasi-emperor reincarnated powerfully? Then the soul, that's not looking for a hammer. Well, so strong. If Wu Yanxi was shocked by being hung in terms of divine soul power, then Bai Ten'er was shocked in all directions. This kind of heavenly cloudy and freezing wind, which can even freeze the soul power and soul, is casually absorbed in front of Zhang Chushuan like a light breeze, and does not show the slightest harm at all. This is obviously not that the sky is cloudy and frosty, but Zhang Chushuan is too strong. This is the crushing of the three aspects of physique, spirit, and exercises. Isn't that scary? Buzz. With Zhang Chushuan's operation, more than 100 dark blue energy beads suddenly condensed around him. These are all condensed by the sky cloudy and freezing wind, and have been quenched by Zhang Chushuan, which can be absorbed as spirit stones. But even so, if ordinary people touch it, they will still be frozen into ice slag by that extreme chill. Good stuff. Wu Yanxi licked her lips. She is now preparing to condense a new body. If you add Tianyan freezing qi in this process, it can increase a lot in terms of physique level, divine soul ability, or means of fighting the enemy. 4.4. It seems that when the time comes, you will have to ask the seniors for some, and if it is a big deal, you will be coquettish. Let's go. Operator. Placing the sky cloudy and freezing wind beads into the 7-color Linglong pagoda, Zhang Chushuan took the two daughters to continue to go deeper, but there was no danger in the process. After about a cup of tea, a huge silver altar slowly greeted the three people. This altar has a metallic silver color throughout, like the light of the stars. Above the altar stood densely packed pitch-black stone pillars, which looked strange from a distance that was indescribable in words. Seeing this scene, Zhang Chushuan did not hesitate, took a step, and fell directly on the altar. Then, his black and white eyes began to fragment, and his gaze finally stayed in the center of the altar. Wu Yanxi and Bai Ten'er's expressions changed slightly. Both sensed Zhang Chushuan entering a strange state. Their gaze and divine consciousness fall on him, and they will be absorbed. Devour. Holy Runes. 57%. Chapter 225 Devouring Saint Venerable is a peerless beauty. This feeling. Zhang Chushuan looked at the stone pillar in the center of the altar, and the whole person remained motionless, and instantly fell into a certain state. What's going on? 35. Wu Yanxi and Bai Tenor looked at each other, and they both saw the deep worry in each other's eyes. With their current soul power, they could barely sense that there was a strange subtle fluctuation emanating from the center of the altar, and that was the reason why Zhang Chushuan's current physical condition was strange. It was a feeling as if it could swallow up the whole heaven and earth. Devour the rune. Wu Yanxi and Bai Tenor looked at each other, and their hearts were shocked at the same time. If it were in normal times, they would definitely not associate all this with this heaven and earth holy artifact, at most guessing that there was some devouring formation or strange things. After all, the holy rune is such a thing. Anyone is a strange thing that quasi-emperors aspire to have. It will not appear once in tens of thousands of years, and there are many great emperors who rise because of the holy runes, but they also give up after becoming a great emperor, and then it will not appear for tens of thousands of years. It is said that hundreds of thousands of years ago in ancient times, there was a devouring emperor to become emperor, and he also controlled 3 other holy runes, but in the end, he died violently. Who would think about such a holy relic in one situation? But Zhang Chushuan had just mentioned the devouring rune, which made the 2 women immediately associate the strange situation in this regard. What do we do next? Bai Tenor asked out loud. After staying in the Yanwang dynasty for so long, she and Wu Yanxi knew each other, and the relationship was okay, and all the basic information was known. Although she is a descendant of the imperial family, when her strength is insufficient, it is obvious that the remnant soul of the king is more powerful. Of course, wait. Wu Yanxi replied. Wait. Bai Tenor frowned slightly. You can only wait. Wu Yanxi swallowed his hand helplessly and said in a deep voice, we already know that all this may be related to devouring holy runes. What can we do in the face of such strange things? Even if you don't know about devouring the holy rune, Zhang Chushuan is much stronger than us, and he can't handle it, let alone us. Since he has the confidence to bring us here, he must have a way to deal with it. 95. You can only wait. Wu Yanxi is not worried about Zhang Chushuan, but the image of omniscience and omnipotence that the latter has created for her for a long time is too deeply rooted in the hearts of the people. Even if it was to devour the holy rune, she didn't think it could make Zhang Chushuan anything. Bai Tenor pondered for a moment, her brows soothed a lot, but there was still worry hidden under her eyes, and her eyes looked at Zhang Chushuan motionlessly. Wu Yanxi saw all this in her eyes, and her phoenix eyes brought a touch of playfulness. It seems that this sister is also moved. Tisk huh. Why should I use it? A slip of the tongue. It must be a slip of the tongue. Devouring the holy rune. At this time, on the silver altar, Zhang Chushuan's pair of pitch-black eyes did not have the slightest light, and they became darker and darker, as if even darkness was about to be swallowed. In the special world that Wu Yanxi and Bai Tenor could not see, Zhang Xian's gaze fell to the center of the altar. Whoosh! In the center of the silver sacrifice sky was an exceptionally large black-gold pillar, and after Zhang Chushuan's gaze shot over, a mysterious space rune appeared at the top, and there were special fluctuations in the rune spreading out. This is clearly the central position. Special fluctuations spread out in a special rhythm, filling the entire altar in the blink of an eye, connecting every pillar of black gold beads. In Zhang Chushuan's 2-eye world, a single talisman array appeared, encompassing the entire altar, but there seemed to be a trace of black aura underneath. The talisman array quickly converged, and finally hung in the center of the silver altar, and then condensed a wisp of pure silver light into a silver light cluster at a speed visible to the naked eye. This silver light cluster is about 3 zhang, and its surroundings are covered with black aura, and in the depths of that silver light, an ancient rune the size of a palm that makes people unable to look directly at it, and it is possible to lose consciousness if you look at it directly. This rune is surrounded by an indescribable ancient charm, layer by layer of special fluctuations expanding. Zhang Chushuan only felt that at a glance for 10,000 years, it was as if he had seen the beginning of heaven and earth, and all filth was swallowed, purified, and spread under the control of a special aura. Zhang Chushuan's gaze, uncontrollably drawn over. At this time, this black rune seemed to have fallen into some kind of deep sleep, and the rune fluctuations emitted were not violent, but when Zhang Chushuan looked seriously, he could also see that this rune seemed to be transformed by a black hole, emitting terrifying fluctuations that could swallow everything in heaven and earth. Under the influence of this fluctuation, everything around has become a little dark and deep. Sure enough, it is a devouring rune. Zhang Chushuan muttered in his heart. In the face of such a treasure, Rao could not maintain his inner peace. The fact that the devouring Saint Venerable could use this thing to create the devouring temple and reach the peak of the enlightenment realm without everyone's knowledge could already say a lot. With this thing, you have the pass of this world's top powerhouse. Even if there is no family building system and no hundredfold increase ability, as long as you don't die, it is only a matter of time before you become a great saint or even a quasi-emperor. And this kind of thing, there are only 8 in this heaven and earth. This thing is more noble than the Emperor Scripture, because the Emperor Scripture is the Tao fruit of the great emperor becoming the emperor, and it is inscribed with the law of the voice of the great emperor, if future generations learn it. It is really, those who learn from me live, and those who are like me die. Quote. In this heaven and earth, no one has ever copied the Emperor Scripture and walked out of the Emperor Road, at most, it is a reference. The Emperor Scripture is just that those who are destined to not be qualified to become emperors have the opportunity to become quasi-emperors. But the Holy Rune is the rule of the heavenly Tao of the 1,000 worlds in this side, and anyone who masters it can understand and create a devouring path of their own, pointing directly to the peak realm of the quasi-emperor, and when the time comes, they can step out. Even if 100 people get the devouring Saint Rune, the great Emperor Tao fruit produced by becoming an emperor will be different. But taking advantage often also means responsibility. Since the devouring of the Holy Rune is condensed by the rules of heaven and earth, its controller must also do things for this heaven and earth, and after being contaminated with the breath, there is no choice, let alone any way back. In peacetime, this is nothing. But in this era of demon invasion, it means to become the vanguard of anti-demons. But Zhang Chushuan doesn't care about that. In his heart, if those evil demons do not kill, will they be kept for the new year? 283 Then came the test. But honestly, don't I have to go through this at all? 35. Zhang Chushuan's eyes condensed slightly. Normally, getting a holy talisman requires a test, but the test is not light, it is death, and the heavy as the soul is scattered. Sometimes, it's not just that you want to take on a responsibility to qualify. And this devouring holy rune is actually still the Lord's thing, and the devouring holy venerable is not dead yet. This leads to the test becoming 2. First, you need to pass the devouring saint test, make him willing to call out the devouring rune, and then go to the test of the devouring rune. The disadvantage is that it is difficult to take the approval of the devouring saints. The advantage is that it will be easy to pass the test of the devouring venerable, at least without the danger of death. But for Zhang Chushuan, just by consuming a 100-fold increase, he could get 100 devouring runes, or control it in 1 second. So, let's see the devouring Saint Venerable first and persuade him to remove the seal left in the holy rune. It's best to be willing to take the initiative to give it to me, I can directly consume, increase, and control. I am also a personal hero, but I have a lot of good feelings. Then again, this devouring Saint Venerable is really that beautiful. That's right, the devouring saint is a beauty. According to the book, she is a peerless beauty who has stunned an era, and when she was still alive, she was not only pursued by the lords of the Holy Land dynasty of all parties, but also promised the throne. Even the Zongshuan domain had quasi-emperors coming here. How beautiful is that? 57%. Chapter 226 Devouring Saint Venerable, Peerless Beauty, Amazing Talent. I'm really a strange person, and I still want to verify people's appearance at this time. Whispering to himself inwardly, Zhang Chushuan exhaled softly and walked towards the pillar in the center of the altar. This scene immediately attracted the hearts of Wu Yanxi and Bai Ten'er, and the two watched intently, ready to rescue at any time. Whether the strength is enough or not, as long as Zhang Chushuan may be in danger, they will immediately strike. Under the gaze of the two, Zhang Chushuan sat down cross-legged directly in front of the black gold pillar, and the soul power in the divine palace was released. The black gold pillar was extremely cold, and as the soul power poured in, it bloomed with a warm light, and after a while, it vibrated and made a sound. Wow! As the ripples of light spread, the devouring saint rune that could only be seen in the altar completely emerged, even Wu Yanxi and Bai Ten'er could see it. Without waiting for the two to be shocked, Zhang Chushuan's jet black eyes suddenly bloomed with brilliant colors, followed by a layer of fluctuations spread out on the entire silver altar. In the blink of an eye, the ripples of light swept through the altar, becoming more and more intense, and finally turned into a black vortex that continued to rotate. You two wait outside, I'll come when I go. Turning back to the two women to give them a relaxed look, Zhang Chushuan stepped into the whirlpool, and the whole person disappeared. This. Wu Yanxi and Bai Tenor looked at each other, not knowing what to do for a while. Go in. Zhang Chushuan said, let's wait. 35. Is that one the devouring rune? Apparently it is, otherwise it won't be difficult to open it at a glance. The power of the divine soul can also be absorbed. Holy runes, I didn't expect to be able to see them with my own eyes. I don't know how Zhang Chushuan would know that there is such a devouring rune. Hanza is also curious, could it be that he heard about it before reincarnation? This quasi-emperor reincarnation is not omnipotent, right? Then you don't have to wait to come out next, you ask. Why don't you ask? Dedicate yourself to something. Why don't you dedicate yourself? I have no entity. Mean there's an entity and you're on. Wu Yanxi. I heard that the spirit and the spirit can also be, and it feels better, don't be reserved. 95. Wu Yanxi. It's as if you haven't talked about it. Zhang Chushuan didn't know what the two women were talking about. At this time, after going through the heavens and earth, he came to this trip to enter the true destination of the devouring saint monument, and it was also where the demon sealing seal was located, truly devouring the inner space of the holy monument. Shish. Zhang Chushuan looked at the vast and barren earth plain around him, his eyes swept over some diffuse black chi, feeling the soul-devouring aura, and almost couldn't hold back a shiver. Rao is that he has broken through the divine mansion realm, but Zhang's strange aura still makes people feel cold all over. It's really disgusting. For example, it is from other great worlds, otherwise the upper realm would not be so stupid. Zhang Chushuan couldn't help but complain. His hand looked at the most central position of this space, where there were also pillars arranged, the cooperation was black and gold, and only the middle one was silver and gold. And at the top of this pillar, there is a silent shadow, which has risen at this time. Zhang Chushuan stared at it and clearly saw the appearance of the other party. Wearing a black gold-trimmed silk skirt robe, the edges of the skirt robe are also covered with dark gold occult patterns that are very similar to the patterns indicated by the devouring rune, and a solemn but noble aura ripples from his body. What attracted Zhang Chushuan was the girl's beautiful face, with white skin like snow, willowy eyebrows like a crescent moon, and a jade nose. The most striking thing is the pair of eyes as quiet as a deep pool, at first glance like a black hole, can swallow all light, but then look like the deepest starry sky, revealing endless mystery under the tranquility. Zhang Chushuan took a few more glances and almost didn't indulge in it. But after looking at the woman and seeing the latter's cold gaze like a blade between the flow of his eyes, his whole person regained his clarity. Such an image is the previous master of the devouring rune, devouring the holy venerable. In the original trajectory, Chu Yun will see this one in 3 years, and for the first time, he has the psychology of self-shame, and even feels that he cannot compare it in a lifetime. Even if Chu Yun grew up later, this peerless woman like a secret was deeply imprinted in his mind. Especially when the devouring saint venerable finally sacrificed himself to bless the seal, burned the remnant soul, and completed the heroic sacrifice, it left a strong mark in Chu Yun's heart. This is a talented woman, who is only mortal, but based on the family exercises, she creates her own Dao Law Northern Hades Sea technique. At the age of 6, he began to refine the body. At the age of 14, he opened the 365 blood tricks in his body, all with the power of devouring. At the age of 15, he gathered spirits, 16 years old turned into spirits, 17 years old Jaden, broke through the divine palace at the age of 18, obtained heaven and earth induction and found the devouring holy rune, successfully obtained after a year of time testing, broke through the holy lord at the age of 20, and broke through the king at the age of 24. After that, she stepped onto the stage of the Dongshuan domain, experienced countless battles, obtained countless exercises, and all integrated into the Northern Hades Sea technique, became holy at the age of 30, understood her future path, and achieved the emperor at the age of 40, returning to the Dongshuan domain with the strength of the lord of the second-rank Holy Land, creating the devouring temple, one side of the 3-rank Holy Land. In the next 20 years, the devouring saint venerable did not make another move, but the legend was never broken, until the evil demon Emperor Zun attacked, and she burst out with a strength far beyond that of ordinary quasi-emperors. This resume can be compared to Zhang Yanren in the future. Zhang Chushuan is a scum compared to him. This is a man who is not weaker than any man, the pride of the times, and the heroic soul of the human race. Chu Yun once said to people that the person he loved most in his life was Zhang Yanren, but he couldn't pursue it. But Zhang Chushuan felt that this woman was, and Chu Yun had no chance to pursue it at all, but always remembered the other party's name. clouds, is indeed a peerless beauty. 35. In terms of temperament, Wu Yanxi is worse than her, but Zaire has been a king for a long time recently, plus the development of the Zui phoenix body, it can be compared, but Yan Xuanxian is now in the state of remnants of the soul that has consumed 30,000 years. 99. In terms of appearance, Mu Shui can be compared, but she lacks the aura brought by strength and identity. Bai Tenur, as an emperor, and a holy body, plus nirvana once, can also compare feelings in front of him, but his appearance is slightly worse. Looks like a porcelain doll, but the strength stands at the top of heaven and earth, no wonder there were countless suitors back then. Zhang Chushuan took a step, shrunk the ground into inches, and came to the opposite side of Yan Xuanxian, with appreciation in his eyes, looking closely at this woman who had made countless top powerhouses admire. However, as soon as he got closer, he could feel the terrifying aura emanating from Yun Zan's soul body. If he doesn't use the whole card, Qian Zhao is afraid that he will be tricked by the other party. Yun Xuanjian's eyes originally had no expression, but at the moment of looking at Zhang Chushuan, a pitch-black light seemed to appear, causing this space to pause for a moment. These deep eyes, like black holes, seem to be able to swallow everything. Worthy of being the devouring Saint Rune controller who almost created the Emperor Sutra. Zhang Chushuan secretly praised in his heart, and a smile appeared on his face. Yun Xuanjian took a deep look at him, and Zhu's lips slightly opened. How many years, someone has finally come here, and I can finally fulfill the order left by the Buddha. A pair of black pupils stared at Zhang Chushuan, revealing a heavy and ancient, but very beautiful voice resounded through this space. When Zhang Chushuan heard this, he couldn't help but roll his eyes. Return the Buddha figure, aren't you the Buddha figure? A remnant soul pretending to be some kind of divine incarnation. Quote. It is said that it has not been annihilated for 30,000 years, and the great emperor will not live for so long. How did you do it? Yun Xuanjian. Why doesn't this person play his cards according to the routine? Times have changed so much. 57%. Chapter 227 I'm not hungry for your body, absolutely not. So strong. At this moment, Zhang Chushuan stared at his eyes for a moment, and only felt that the soul power in Zhang Chushuan's divine mansion was a sign of some uncontrollability. It is worthy of mastering the existence of the devouring rune. At this moment, Zhang Chushuan understood why Yun Xuanjian could get the title of devouring saint venerable. That devouring word, worthy of the name. Since you know that the Buddha figure is not a divine thought, but a remnant soul. Yun Xuanjian's eyes revealed a hint of curiosity. If she sensed correctly, the outside world should have passed 30,000 years. As Zhang Chushuan said, ordinary emperors do not live for 30,000 years, and must embark on the ancient road of the starry sky, while seeking long biomass to prolong life and pursue immortals. In the divine mansion realm, how do you know that she is a remnant soul and not the incarnation of divine thought? I can't always say I've read a novel, can I? Noodles. Then it is very likely to involve that immortal emperor, or save it. Zhang Chushuan muttered in his heart and smiled. This is my secret, I can't tell my seniors. This senior, Zhang Chushuan, called a little diaphragm. In fact, although the remnant soul of Yun Xuanjian has existed for 30,000 years, it has been sleeping in this space, and it will only wake up when someone comes in, and get feedback on the information of devouring the sacred monument, and know some information related to the outside world. This kind of slumber is similar to many quasi-emperor great saints who have frozen themselves in the holy source. Therefore, according to the age of experience, Yun Xuanjian is still 6 years younger than Zhang Chushuan. Still a sister. Well, Zhang Chushuan is trying to eat farts. If you don't want to say it, it doesn't matter. Yun Xuanxian nodded indifferently, his eyes suddenly determined, and asked in a deep voice, you have come here, presumably to obtain the method of lifting the devouring saint rune seal. Quote. Disrespect doesn't mind giving up the rune, but you need to pass some tests. 35. When Yun Xuanjian spoke, his expression did not change in the slightest, like a 10,000-year-old iceberg. That feeling, Zhang Chushuan seems to see Zhang Yanran in the future, the Plath version of Zhang Yanran now. Test. Zhang Chushuan muttered and shook his head gently. I do want to get the holy rune, but I don't want to try to test it. Zhang Chushuan's straightforward answer and slightly provocative second half of the sentence surprised Yun Xuanjian a little, and a strange ripple appeared in his deep black eyes. If you don't let the Buddha figure break the seal, you can't take the holy rune with you. Unless there is a quasi-emperor willing to make a move for you. But the Buddha figure thinks that there is no such strong person behind you. 99. Without sensing, Yun Xuanjian can guess the answer. If there was someone who could break the seal of the holy rune, it would not have come to this stone space to talk to her, and there would not even be a chance for her remnant soul to speak. There is no need for the holy venerable to guess. I actually came here for another purpose. Zhang Chushuan smiled indifferently and looked at Yun Xuanjian's eyes with something more. Although Yun Xuanjian was one of those great emperors, he had achieved and sacrificed twice for this heaven and earth to fight against the demons in his life, but all normal human races changed their hearts and were even respected by all the creatures in the Tianshuan continent. How to take away the devouring rune? He wants to save this woman. Is it bad for both women and runes to bring dolls? Well, he definitely didn't feast on this woman's body, he just wanted to do something for the Terran hero. That's right, that's it. Oh, Zhang Chushuan's words made Yun Xuanjian even more surprised, and a trace of surprise appeared in his deep eyes, and he asked curiously, devouring the holy rune should be the only valuable thing in this time, and the remnant soul of the Buddha figure has the strength to do something and can't do anything. The Buddha figure really can't understand what else is worth your attention in this core space that devours the sacred monument. Yun Xuanjian's eyes looked at Zhang Chushuan without blinking, and a trace of curiosity flooded her heart. Don't hide it from the holy venerable, I am here today to do 4 things. Zhang Chushuan smiled slightly, and said squarely, getting the devouring saint rune is only one of them. Second, I also want this devouring monument. To devour the holy monument. Yun Xuanjian's expression changed slightly. This devouring holy monument is more important than devouring the body of the evil demon emperor, and if it is taken away, it can release the evil 7th emperor. Thinking of this, Yun Xuanjian's eyes became fierce for a moment, and he said, the holy runes are condensed by the devouring laws of heaven and earth, and there are a total of 8 realms, including the devouring runes. Quote. Ordinary people only know that if they obtain the holy rune, they have a path to become the top powerhouse of the continent, but they don't know that it is also accompanied by the greatest risk in heaven and earth, do you know? Of course I know. To Yun Xuanjian's surprise, Zhang Chushuan nodded calmly and opened his mouth to narrate. The remnant soul of the holy venerable is here and did not leave the holy monument to seek resurrection, in order to seal the evil demon emperor venerable suppressed under the space of mercy flowers. That evil demon emperor venerable brought many strong people of the evil demon clan to destroy and devour the temple, and was desperately hit hard by the power of the holy venerable you and the countless ancestors of the devouring temple, and sealed it. 35. Originally, with the devouring saint rune and the devouring saint steel, coupled with the power of devouring all the races of the holy temple, it was enough to refine this demon emperor venerable in 10,000 years, but you underestimated the weirdness of these evil demons, and you didn't expect that the devouring sacred rune and devouring saint steel were there, and it survived the first 10,000 years. 39. After that, this demon also found an opportunity to erode the sacred monument, resulting in the connection between the sacred monument and the sacred rune becoming weaker and weaker, and it is estimated that the secret realm of the sacred monument will be opened, attracting people to kill each other inside and outside the stone monument space, and obtain the power of flesh and blood to be reborn. After another 20,000 years, since you have awakened, I think you can sense how the 7th Emperor Venerable has recovered, right? Zhang Chushuan's eyes twinkled. Mastering the path to becoming emperor by these 3 sons of luck was that increased insight and experience, and he would only know more than Yun Xuanjian. Since the first opening of this heavenly abyss trench and holy monument space, it was the evil demon Emperor Venerable who was playing with ghosts, and in order to avoid surprise and remnant souls, he deliberately slowed down the steps, which took 20,000 years. Originally, Yun Zan had a remnant soul, and if a newcomer mastered the devouring saint monument, there was still a chance to shape a new body for her. But Yun Xuanjian was worthy of being Yun Xuanjian, and he was aware of the situation of the 7th Emperor Venerable at the moment of awakening, and he was ready to completely sacrifice himself at the moment. This is a heroic martyr who fought for the righteousness of the human race. If you let that 7th Emperor Venerable break the seal, even if a little demonic aura leaks, the entire Lingzhou domain will be finished, and the entire southwest region of the Dongshuan domain will suffer from the devastation. 7th Emperor Venerable. As early as hearing Zhang Chushuan's first sentence, Yun Xuanjian realized that the person in front of him was not simple, but he did not expect that he knew so much. These are the details of many things 30,000 years ago. How do you know such secrets? With your strength, you don't even know what the demon is. The most important thing is that you know this. Why do you want to fight the attention of the devouring steel, which is the key to sealing that evil demon? Yun Xuanjian questioned again, with a slight tremor in her voice. As her voice fell, the space on the front side shook. Zhang Chushuan only felt that he was locked by a powerful aura, like a heavenly hanging sword. But his face did not change, and he said lightly, "The answer is very simple, I am actually the reincarnation of a quasi-emperor." Quasi-emperor reincarnation. Yun Xuanjian breathed heavily. Although she sealed an evil demon comparable to a quasi-emperor, it was the effect of devouring the holy rune and increasing the strength of the holy peak plus devouring all the people of the temple plus devouring the holy monument. But that's it, now this demon has a sign of breaking the seal. This person in front of him is actually the reincarnation of a quasi-emperor. That's right, the Buddha figure is the reincarnation of the quasi-emperor. 35. For this identity, Zhang Chushuan has reached the point where he has been deceived and believed, and he can say it casually. I searched for the devouring rune, so I investigated the devouring temple, and then dug up this secret sin. I have come here to get the devouring talisman and the holy monument, and to get you. Ah. Finding that Yun Xuanjian's eyes had become a little strange, Zhang Chushuan hurriedly changed his words. The third purpose is to help you resurrect and completely erase the demon under the stone tablet. It's so risky, I accidentally said what was in my heart. 57%. Chapter 228. Erasing the evil demon. Isn't that just a hand? Completely erase the seventh emperor. Yun Xuanjian's always calm face finally changed, and he said in surprise, "Since you know the evil demons, you should know how difficult they are to deal with, even if you are the reincarnation of a quasi-emperor, now it is only the divine mansion realm, how to destroy it." Regarding the fact that Zhang Chushuan was the reincarnation of a quasi-emperor, Yun Xuanjian directly believed 7 points. Who let Zhang Chushuan know too much, and he behaved too calmly after coming here. If it were not for such a reason, he would not have thought of other reasons. And a normal person would hang the reincarnation of the quasi-emperor on their lips. This is quite easy to debunk, easy to die. Yun Xuanjian didn't ask which quasi-emperor Zhang Chushuan was reincarnated. She had been sealed for 30,000 years, and 3 new great emperors had appeared, and future quasi-emperors would definitely not know much. She didn't understand where Zhang Chushuan had the confidence to kill this evil demon. Or wait for you to break through to the future of discovery, bring the other 2 holy runes to try it, and the Buddha figure will help with the intention of devouring the remnants of the temple, and activate the seal that the Buddha figure set in this space back then to help you. Yun Xuanjian came up with its own solution. Although the evil demon Emperor Venerable has recovered a lot, it has not recovered to its heyday for hundreds of years, and it is difficult to break the seal. Since Zhang Chushuan is the reincarnation of a quasi-emperor, it is not a problem to recultivate as a Dharma realm saint in at least 200 years. Only if you can mobilize heaven and earth to discover, and then cooperate with 3 holy runes to form the heaven and earth 3 refining array, there is absolutely no problem in erasing the demon below that has been sealed for 30,000 years. At that time, she wouldn't even have to use the burning remnant soul another backhand. No, I can still rebuild it. Of course, if you can recultivate to the quasi-emperor realm within 200 years, it will be even simpler. The corners of Yun Zan's mouth pursed slightly. Her self-created Northern Hades Sea technique combined with her self-created devouring body, the speed of absorbing spiritual energy is hundreds of times faster than ordinary people, coupled with the help of holy runes to enlighten. In order to break through so fast all the time, ordinary people cannot have her cheating cultivation speed. Even if a quasi-emperor is reincarnated, at most, he will break through the realm very quickly, but in terms of the accumulation of aura, unless he is born in the Holy Land Emperor clan from the beginning and has a massive supply of resources, he needs to fight step by step, and it is also a trouble to converge resources. And looking at Zhang Chushuan's appearance, it is obvious that he comes from an ordinary background. 200 years of quasi-emperors is not difficult at all. Zhang Chushuan smiled nonchalantly. For ordinary people, 200 years can live 2 lifetimes, which is the life of a great cultivator of the incarnation spirit realm. 90% of the existence above the 9 Jaden realm has lived for far more than 200 years, and in the lives of many strong people, this is only a leader. But for the sons of luck, such as Zhang Yanren, Chu Yun, and Han Li, all became emperors within 200 years. To be precise, 90% of the great emperors broke through the great emperor at the age of 100, and then ran amok for 10,000 years. Zhang Chushuan doesn't think he can't do it. But at that time, it would be too late to solve the demon 7th Emperor Venerable below. In 200 years, my granddaughter can break through to the quasi-emperor. Unfortunately, you don't have time to wait that long. Quote. Zhang Chushuan could think of what Yun Xuanjian was thinking, and shook his head. You have been deceived by the evil demon below. It will not take 10 years to recover 90% and start preparing to break the seal. If it weren't for Chu Yun, the son of luck, who was not slow to grow in the original trajectory, plus good luck to get the other 3 holy runes, then the 7th emperor would have broken the seal and fled, and Yun Xuanjian would not even have the opportunity to sacrifice himself. But even if Chu Yun's luck is so strong, hasn't Yun Xuanjian sacrificed himself? What? The information revealed by Zhang Chushuan startled Yun Xuanjian's heart, and Shu's eyebrows frowned slightly. But she did not rush to refute Zhang Chushuan, but her eyes froze and she used the power of the stone tablet. Boom. The cloud's eyes became darker and darker, and the black pupils were selected, turning into a vivid black hole, and layers of black clouds suddenly appeared in this space, as if they could swallow heaven and earth. Immediately after, this heaven and earth began to turbulent, and the earth began to become pitch black, with endless black chi coming out, with an extremely strange taste. Juju, devour the holy venerable, I didn't expect you to come to the main seat as soon as you woke up. This is thinking of the Buddha, do you want to come to catch up with the past? When the black aura of the earth was strong to a certain extent, and the heaven and earth suddenly reversed, Zhang Chushuan only felt that he had risen into some strange space, and then there was a magic sound in his ears, with the power of intimidation. Immediately after, he saw 2 huge eyes appear behind Yun Xuanjian, like 2 stars, radiant. Those eyes moved, and their gaze was like starlight, with infinite penetrating power. Evil Qi, you will still only use your tongue for profit. Yun Xuanjian waved his hand casually. In an instant, the voice, gaze, evil Qi, everything around seemed to be swallowed. Heaven and earth returned to silence, those eyes also began to shrink, and finally turned into a handsome man wearing black magic armor and having enchanting purple hair. Devour the holy venerable, even if you have sealed the Buddha figure for 30,000 years, as long as you are willing to be my woman, the Buddha figure's promise back then will still be counted. Quote. The purple-haired man moved to Yun Xuanjian's side in an instant, with undisguised greed and possessiveness in his eyes. As long as you are my woman, I can let go of the billions of creatures in the southwest of the eastern Zan domain, only demonize them, and become my people and yours. 35. The northern Hades Sea technique you cultivate is very special. You are confident that you can convert by absorbing my spirit-splitting evil clan, and you are naturally suitable for my evil demon clan. 9. The evil Qi loves Yun Zan beyond race. Zhang Chushuan admired him in his heart, and replied, by the way, I see that you want to eat farts, and the spirit and evil clan also dare to hit the attention of my Terran Tianzhao. 35. 0. Ants, since you know about the spirit-splitting evil clan. The evil Qi finally began to pay attention to this weak Terran. Yun Xuanjian also showed curiosity in her eyes. It is not incomprehensible that there are different races of demons, and there are also subdivisions within the human race. It's just that she has never heard of what subdivisions the evil demon clan has, and now it sounds like Zhang Chushuan obviously knows. Of course I only divide the spirit and evil clan with you. Zhang Chushuan sneered. You are a very rare demon clan among evil demons, but your individual strength is strong. There are many emperors, and you are an evil demon emperor clan. Ha ha ha. The evil Qi suddenly burst out laughing, and his voice echoed in this endless dark space. Boy, with these few words you say now, I will not pursue the sins of standing with the devouring holy venerable, and you can die a happy death. 99. Good fellow, Zhang Chushuan straight a good fellow. This evil Qi is inevitably too strong for Yun Xuanjian, just because he is standing beside him, he will definitely die, and what he thinks about in front is still not good to die. 0. If it weren't for the lack of strength, it could only erase you, and I also wanted you to live better than die in torture for hundreds of millions of years. Zhang Chushuan's eyes flashed coldly, and he said in an icy voice, the strongest talent of your spirit-splitting clan is to divide the body and soul into 2, and one of them exists in the shadows, or cultivates, or sneak attacks. When the 2 evil bodies and evil spirits fuse, the strength will skyrocket, am I right? When Zhang Chushuan mentioned the word talent, the evil Qi began to restrain his smile. When Zhang Chushuan finished speaking, his face could already drip ink gloomy. The talent of the spirit-splitting clan is rarely known to anyone in the demon clan, and ordinary demons are only because they are good at doppelgangers, and this Terran ant actually knows. It doesn't matter if you know, just erase it. But the problem was that Yun Xuanjian heard it. That is to say, the other half of the evil relative's body is hidden in the dark, and I did not find it. When the critical time comes, the strength will skyrocket. Yun Zan's dark eyes turned, with infinite devouring power. No wonder you said I can't wait for 10 years. 99. Apparently, She believed Zhang Chushuan's words. That's right, this guy's two bodies are fused, and his strength has skyrocketed by at least 3 times. In that case, do you have a solution? Knowing that the evil Qi would be able to recover most of his vitality within 10 years, Yan Xuanjian also believed that Zhang Chushuan could break through to the Dharma phase realm in such a short period of time and obtain at least 3 holy runes. Even if she rebuilds it, she can't do it. Breaking through the great sage or even the quasi-emperor is even more nonsense. I can only believe that Zhang Chushuan really has the means to continue sealing this evil demon. Erase this evil demon. Isn't that just a hand? Zhang Chushuan clapped his hands. Yan Xuanjian. What? Erase? Just have hands. Yan Xuanjian almost broke the skill. River. 58%. Chapter 229. The demon quasi-emperor revived, and the seal was shattered. Subscription required, 3/4. Ha 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 ha. Ridiculous, ridiculous. Ants, is this how you express yourself in women? Sensationalism. The evil Qi was the first to react, retracting his gloomy expression and letting out a contemptuous smile. Although it is now far from the peak as a whole, the integration of the two bodies can restore the great sage peak level. Even if the quasi-emperor in this heaven and earth came over, he didn't dare to say that one hand sealed it, let alone erase it. Rao is Yan Xuanjian's amazing talent, and his cultivation is one step away from the quasi-emperor, and sealing it back then also requires sacrificing the names of himself and the strong people in the entire Holy Land, and using the 2 quasi-emperor weapons of devouring the Holy Rune and the devouring Holy Monument. Zhang Chushuan, a divine mansion realm ant, actually has a hand. Amusing. What do you do? Yan Xuanjian was only surprised at first, and only curiosity remained. She did not doubt Zhang Chushuan's ability, nor did she think it was impossible to erase evil relatives. For example, Zhang Chushuan has some kind of special quasi-imperial weapon, and now the evil Qi is finally in the state of being sealed by 293, and it may not be impossible to add a fire to erase it. Zhang Chushuan has an imperial weapon, inscribed with a certain great emperor Dao fruit. Even the evil relatives of the peak matter can fight hard, not to mention the state of its seal. Zhang Chushuan can know so many things, and if he can find the real space of this sacred monument, he is definitely not a generalist. At least not a fool. Hey, don't you doubt my abilities? Zhang Chushuan asked a little surprised. According to the development of the novel, shouldn't Yan Xuanjian question a wave at this time, express his disbelief, and then he took the opportunity to put forward a gamble, and the evil Qi will definitely be inferior at this time, all kinds of contrarians, and then he shows a wave of operations to erase it in the face, shocking Yan Xuanjian. Why doesn't Yan Xuanjian play his cards according to the routine, and directly believe it? You think I'm this idiot? Yan Xuanjian glanced at the 7th evil emperor venerable who was isolated by a special enchantment not far away, and said lightly, if you didn't come prepared, how could you behave so easily? 35. You know the past of devouring the temple. You know the past of the Buddha figure. You know that there are evil demons here. You know that the devouring of the Holy Rune and the devouring of the Holy Monument, I believe it is the reincarnation of the quasi-emperor. Quote. In that case, you should know very well how strong the quasi-emperor is, and naturally you won't make a big fuss. Quote. What is there to question about the Buddha figure? Yan Xuanjian was now puzzled. All of Zhang Chushuan's performance shows that he is full of confidence, so why should she question it? Zhang Chushuan. Well, empiricism kills people. Indeed, how could Yan Xuanjian not even have the most basic reasoning ability if he devoured the Holy Venerable and created a 3-rank Holy Land at the age of 40? Evil Qi also has muscles in his head, coupled with the identity of the mainland invader. There is contempt for the human race in his bones, so he can't even see through such a simple question. The method is very simple. You can give me the control of the devouring monument. 35. Zhang Chushuan retracted his expression and got down to business. At this time, you can't capsize in the gutter. But hearing his words, Yan Xuanjian's expression suddenly changed, and he said in a deep voice, it is impossible for the Buddha figure to hand over the control of the devouring holy monument to you. I refused without even giving a chance to explain, very simply. No matter what you say, it is impossible to give you the control of the holy monument. Yan Xuanjian looked deeply at Zhang Chushuan and said in a positive tone, it's okay to devour the holy rune and hand it over to you directly, but the holy monument can't. It is engraved with a sealing array, and the center of the array is me. If I give control to you, the eye of the formation will also transfer to you, and the seal formation will loosen and become weak. 35. At this time, if the evil Qi tries to break the seal, it will not take half a quarter of an hour to break the remaining power of my power to break the seal, and with the cultivation of your God Mansion realm, your spirit will be sucked dry in an instant. 39. Yun Xuanjian's tone was very solemn. Everything was for the consideration of sealing evil relatives. Sealing control is her final bottom line. No matter what Zhang Chushuan says, it is impossible to hand it over, or even try. After all, Zhang Chushuan is not an adulterer who has defected to the devil. And the control of this seal is closely linked to the sacred monument. Can't you hand over the control of the holy monument? Zhang Chushuan frowned suddenly. If he wants the control of the sacred monument, he naturally wants the ownership of this heaven and earth. As long as the ownership belongs to him, he can open the invincible comprehension of the avenue level, so isn't everything still up to him? But looking at Yun Xuanjian's appearance, I am afraid that it is impossible for him to hand over control no matter how he says. After all, it involves the seal, and once the evil chi flees, it will be a catastrophe for the entire heaven and earth. But without the control of this holy monument, how could he pretend in front of Yun Xuanjian? Ah, is it to eliminate evil in this heaven and earth? Ha ha ha. Zhang Chushuan's silence was met with unbridled ridicule from evil relatives. Ants, it can't be that you can't erase Buddha figures without control, right? 99. Could it be that there is some special imperial artifact that you need to have control of the devouring saint monument to activate it? Tisk. Interesting. Zhang Chushuan's eyes narrowed suddenly. It seems that this evil chi is just arrogant and unobtrusive, but he is not really stupid. Those words just now seemed to be mocking, but in fact, they still gave him eye drops in Yun Xuanjian's heart, blurring his identity and position. Of course, if Yun Xuanjian is not stupid, he can also see the intention of the evil chi. But if the truth is real, the seeds of doubt will be planted, then Yun Xuanjian will not hand over the control of the devouring sacred monument. This evil relative, it seems that after the return of his intelligence, he also became jealous of him, and deliberately made trouble, preventing him from gaining control of the sacred monument. The heart is very, then I don't want the control of the holy monument. Zhang Chushuan smiled coldly. He just wanted the ownership of this spatial force, which was not the same as devouring the control of the holy monument, but it was the most convenient. Taoist, this devouring saint stele is where the devouring temple sect was located in the first place. Zhang Chushuan asked towards the clouds. It's the core. Yun Xuanjian nodded gently. In the heyday of the devouring temple, the southwest region of the Dongshuan domain was dominant, and there was nowhere to go at the outer gate alone, and the branch was on the island of 5 states, and there were also branches in other states to select reserves. The inner gate is built on a Zuiyu island, occupying the place where the aura is the strongest. However, the core area of the temple and the main hall of the sect are built in a secret realm, and the key to entering this secret realm is the devouring stele. As for where Zhang Chushuan is now, it is in the space of the devouring monument itself, and it is also in that secret realm. This involves the idea of space. There is the devouring saint stele body outside, which can teleport people to the core area of the sect in the devouring temple, and the most secret location in the core area has the real space inside the devouring saint stele. Good. The corners of Zhang Chushuan's mouth were slightly upturned, and he asked, this can be regarded as the scope of the devouring temple territory, right? Of course. Then, Taoist, please announce now that you will join my Zhang family and become a subsidiary force. 35. Yun Xuanjian, I declare become an affiliate of your family. The joke is bigger. The predecessor of the devouring temple was the 3-rank force. Even if it is now dilapidated, the people are gone, and the heavenly materials and earth treasures have been hollowed out, only the martial arts that can be passed on repeatedly, but that is terrifying enough. All right, the devouring temple has disappeared on the Xuantian continent for 30,000 years, although since her hallmaster is still there, the Holy Land 4.4 still exists, but what is the use of this subsidiary area? I announce, you can get rid of demons. You declare that I can get rid of the demons immediately. 35 Zhang Chushuan nodded solemnly. Yun Xuanxian lowered his head, and thought flashed in his eyes. Unlike her, a black aura flashed in the purple pupils of the evil chi. A death crisis is coming. Could it be that this ant can really wipe out me, as long as the devouring saint venerable promises allegiance? No, I can't let him succeed. The evil chi's eyes were sharp, and 2 vortices appeared in the purple pupils. Split spirits. 35. Fit. Rumble. The pitch-black space suddenly became turbulent, and cracks appeared. Immediately after, the infinite and countless breaths in the darkness quickly condensed into another evil relative. After the 2 evil relatives looked at each other, they merged together with a single thought. The momentum began to skyrocket. The space began to turbulent. Yun Xuanjian's eyes changed drastically. This is want to return to the quasi-emperor. 58%. Chapter 230 Collapse Crisis. Flip your hand to suppress the quasi-emperor. Subscription required, 4 quarters. Boom. A deafening roar sounded, and purple lightning appeared in the pitch-black space, accompanied by the shattering of every inch of space. The aura on the evil qi began to skyrocket, starting from the realm of the great sage, the middle stage, the late stage, and the peak of the great sage, until he advanced to the quasi-emperor realm, and the law of devouring the evil path began to fluctuate before there was a sign of stopping. Boom. The roar also appeared in the secret realm of external assessment. Pitch-black cracks appeared in the gray-white sky, and blue electric rays appeared, as if repairing something. Countless people looked up at this scene that seemed to be the end of the world, and their hearts were shocked, not only stopped their hand movements, but some people even forgot to fight against the monster beast. But the danger did not come. After that spatial crack appeared, the fierce beasts in this heaven and earth were no longer hidden, all came out of the underground, mountains, forests, and cliff nests, and their eyes were wide, very bloodthirsty, and lost their minds. Bang. 35. Suddenly, countless explosions sounded continuously in this heaven and earth, and everyone clearly heard it, and felt the biting chill and erosion, and also saw the black aura flying out into the sky and pouring into the cracks. For a time, the space of the entire heaven and earth became more unstable. Blue-purple lightning and black aura began to fight against each other. Seeing this scene, everyone gasped. Shish, what's wrong with this? Could it be that this secret realm is about to be broken? I've never seen such a devastating sight. 35. Has anyone who has come in known that this has happened before? There has never been such a situation. The only danger of this dense side is those fierce beasts with a very aggressive and strange aura, and then they can get benefits as long as they pass the test. So what is the situation in front of you? Could it be that this secret realm has existed for too long and can't bear to be broken? Then we're so unlucky. I heard that the secret realm will spawn a space storm, and we're all going to finish. I tried to exit the secret realm according to the method I realized when I entered the secret realm, but I was unsuccessful, and the power of space did not come. Idiot, this also needs to be tried. I didn't see that the space in the sky was unstable. What the hell is going on? 99. Countless people voiced despair, thinking that they were going to get cold. But others remained calm. Gon came to the edge of the core area, and Zhang Yanran and the others who found an inheritance platform did not rush to undergo the test and comprehend the inheritance, but also looked at the sky vision. Although I don't know the reason, I think this situation has something to do with Master. Chu Yun suddenly said. His statement was immediately echoed by Han Li. I feel this way too. 99. The two suddenly exchanged speechless glances from many people. Is this saying that your own master is causing trouble? But to be honest, they feel that way. It must have been the movement that Grandpa made. 35. Zhang Yanran directly did not guess, and said with confidence, Grandpa is so familiar with this secret realm, it is impossible not to know what danger it is. I guess he's trying to take this secret realm away. Quote. Let's leave it alone, accept the inheritance first. Zhang Yanran directly defined this matter. Dozens of people looked at each other, although they felt that the content in Zhang Yanran's words was a little strange, but they believed it inexplicably. Zhang Chushuan, a favorite of creating miracles. It is not impossible that there will be such a situation. Let's accept the heritage. 99. Sting. In the core space of the sacred monument, two identical figures appeared behind Zhang Chushuan, holding the same long sword and coming to Zhang Chushuan, looking at the evil qi with vigilant eyes. It was the frightened salamander and Tian Yan. Even though they knew that they couldn't even block a look from the evil relatives, they still stood up as soon as they noticed the danger. For Zhang Chushuan, they are absolutely faithful and can even transcend fear. Yun Xuanjian's eyes swept over the two women, and a flash of surprise flashed in the depths of her eyes, but the surface was silent, and a ghostly voice sounded in this heaven and earth. It seems that this spirit and evil clan really has a set. The aura that the evil qi is now showing directly confirms the authenticity of Zhang Chushuan's words, and also makes Yun Xuanjian completely believe that this seventh emperor venerable is not easy to deal with. This kind of differentiation of her own cultivation, combined with the strength, can also show a means of geometric multiplier increase. She has never seen or thought about it. With the momentum that the evil qi is now showing, Yun Xuanjian knows that it is difficult for him to re-erase it, and he can only extend the world by burning the remnant soul to strengthen the seal. If the seal is broken in 10 years, even if she does that, it will be extended for a few years. If there is the help of a saint rune and a saint-level powerhouse, it can be extended for a few years. But no matter what, she couldn't live. But if you burn the remnant soul seal now, you can seal the evil chi for more than 30 years, and it is not any benefit. But Yun Xuanjian did not rush to make a move, but instead stretched out his hand to Zhang Chushuan's eyebrows, and a good voice sounded in his mind again. This is the method of cracking the devouring saint rune seal, which can increase the success rate of your 50% refining saint rune. Once you get the devouring rune, you will sense the other 7 runes, but the distance and clarity depend on the distance and your own strength. 99. Come on, gain enough strength to come here in 30 years, kill this or seal it again. 35. If not, Buddha figures are no longer visible. Quote. Also, remember the name of the Buddha figure, whose name is Yun Xuanjian. 55. Looking deeply at Zhang Chushuan, with a longing for some kind of life, Yun Xuanjian withdrew his fingers, and a brilliant fire bloomed all over his body, which was a prelude to preparing to burn the remnant soul. Mother, after all, Zhujian did not fulfill your last wish, go to a simple love. As if to the end of his life, Yun Xuanjian's eyes were misty, as if he saw one soul after another picking up, and his body began to float towards the sky. But after only an inch, she lowered her head. I saw Zhang Chushuan grab her wrist with one hand, with a speechless expression. Hey, don't burn your soul without a word. It's really convincing. Your sacrificial spirit is also too strong. As soon as the evil relatives are combined with 300, you will commit suicide. What about playing? It's always okay to declare the devouring saint venerable to me before committing suicide. Try it, right? Zhang Chushuan stared at Yun Xuanjian with burning eyes. There seemed to be a flash of brilliance in the dark pupils of Yun Zan, and a smile suddenly bloomed on his face, like spring snow melting. Zhang Chushuan was inevitably dumbfounded by this smile, and it took a lot of energy to hold his mind, and said in a positive tone, My name is Zhang Chushuan, the Zhang family of the Yanwang dynasty of Nanyangzhou. Yun Xuanjian did not continue to take off, which meant that he agreed. Sure enough, hearing Zhang Chushuan report to his home, Yun Zan gently bowed his head and lightly opened Zhu's lips. In an instant, her voice sounded inside and outside the sacred monument. This seat devours the holy venerable, devours the lord of the temple, and hereby announces that from today, it will join the Zhang family of the Yanwang dynasty in Nanyangzhou in the eastern Zan domain, and it will be subordinate. Heavenly Tao. 39. Rumble. It seemed that some voice exploded in Yi Shi, Zhang Chushuan, and Yun Xuanjian's mind. For a time, ignoring the changes appeared. However, these have nothing to do with Zhang Chushuan for the time being. At this time, he glanced at the family section of the virtual system for half a year, and saw that the 4 big characters of the devouring temple clearly appeared on the affiliated families. Good. The corners of his mouth were slightly upturned. Zhang Chushuan looked up at the evil chi who had gradually leveled out, and his mind moved away from the void transfer charm and raised a hand instead. Give me repression. As his voice fell, Yun Xuanjian and the owner of the evil chi pupils shrank. No. 58%. Chapter 231 Yun Xuanjian, if you really have a hand. Uncharted Revival. What's going on? 99. After a long absence, feeling the power that belonged to the quasi-emperor, the evil chi was trying to laugh out loud, vent the depression that had been sealed for tens of thousands of years in his heart, and then let the ants who spoke loudly felt boundless fear. But at this moment, a supreme force descended, enveloping his whole body and making him move. I can't bounce, I just feel that every inch of skin and every cell of my body is under extraordinary pressure. A moment passed, and the pupils of the evil chi suddenly shrank, and he was shocked to find that he could no longer control the law of devouring, as if he had been stripped of some kind of affinity. Another moment passed, and the evil chi found that he had completely lost his sense of the law, and the part of his mind about the comprehension of the law was directly imprisoned and could not be used. Another moment passed, and the evil chi shifted his attention from the law, and he was surprised to find that the strength of the powerful flesh that he was most proud of had already regressed countless times, and these tens of thousands of years of flesh and blood had been devoured in vain, and actually regressed to the level of the emperor, and it was still regressing. Immediately after, the evil chi found that the connection between his body and discovery was stripped away, the realm regressed from the unity realm to the Dharma phase realm, and the power of the divine soul began to regress. How so? This feeling of rapid regression of the 3 aspects of strength of spirit and spirit made the evil chi afraid and panicked. If he continues like this, he will soon regress to the Dharma realm, or even the divine realm, and all aspects of the realm will become weak. At that time, as long as the cloud Swangian gently runs the seal, the remaining power can refine it. This must not be allowed to happen. The evil Qi tried to resist, but to no avail. That supreme power can imprison it in the quasi-emperor realm, how can he resist it now? The power backwards continue. The evil Qi sensed the strength of the body to take a step backwards again, and the cultivation realm was the same. The induction between himself and the spiritual energy of heaven and earth dissipated into invisibility in an instant, and he could no longer mobilize the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to turn into 10,000 magic phases. Cross the Dharma realm and regress to the divine realm. But the regression did not stop, but became faster. The power of the divine soul continues to weaken. The power of the divine is not there, the power of distraction is useless, and finally it returns to silence, and a divine palace in the form of a prison appears, allowing the divine soul to regress to the Yuan child, and then compressively return to the Jaden realm, and finally the golden pill is broken, and the 2 souls and 7 spirits return to the body. The realm is still regressing, and 108 blood tricks are closed. A body of evil Qi and blood dissipated into invisibility. Refining the body is heavy. In the end, whether the divine soul regressed to 3 souls and 7 spirits, the soul power was even weaker than that of ordinary warriors who began to cultivate. The flesh is even weaker, and the hand has no strength to bind the chicken. How is that possible? The evil Qi could still sense the supreme power, and at this time, it turned into a tightening spell on his body, making him unable to raise the slightest strength to resist. The feeling that his cultivation was completely nothing, his realm was not there, and his strength was completely lost, made him grasp the emptiness in his heart. How can there be such power? Could it be that this immortal of time made a move? But even an immortal may be able to easily erase me, but it can't attack me in an instant, and the strength of the refining body will regress. Quote, even if the immortal king can kill me with a single thought, he can imprison me, but he can also make my strength regress to the refining body. What kind of power is this? The evil Qi was driven mad by that deep sense of powerlessness. And Yun Xuanjian, who witnessed the whole process with his own eyes, was not much better than him, and his heart was shocked to the point of being incomparable. Evil Qi was actually deprived of his cultivation. How did you do it? Yun Xuanjian asked with a trembling voice. Field. Zhang Chushuan spat out 2 words softly. Field. Yun Xuanjian's heart became more and more shocked. He naturally knew that it was the sign of a quasi-emperor strong, a special suppression formed by using the power of heaven and earth after controlling a certain law. This 7th emperor venerable, as a quasi-emperor powerhouse who took 7 steps, also possessed a realm, and it was a special realm similar to devouring. If she hadn't had a devouring holy rune, she would have broken the other party's devouring realm with the help of the devouring power of the heavenly Tao, and even if she took the entire devouring temple, she would not have been able to seal the other party. In a way, it's also luck. Zhang Chushuan said that he was the reincarnation of a quasi-emperor, and it could be trusted that he knew the power of the realm. But now he is only a true monarch of the divine mansion realm after all. He doesn't even have a divine soul, he can't even communicate with heaven and earth, and the power of law can't be mobilized to manifest. How can I use the field? Even if it could, the realm power released by the divine mansion realm would be so powerful. Incredible. Unbelievable. Rao was originally only 1 step away from the quasi-emperor realm, and she couldn't imagine it. Is the quasi-emperor really so powerful? Then how did the 7th emperor venerable be sealed by her? Could it be that this guy is a weak person among the quasi-emperors? What a stretch. Yun Xuanjian thought that she had found the answer, but she didn't know that the realm in Zhang Chushuan's mouth was a Tao-level realm, not those weak law realms in her understanding. Now, please take action against the devil. Zhang Chushuan gestured to Yun Xuanjian. Good. Yun Xuanjian immediately showed his hand. The flames on her body converged, and the power of her soul did not spontaneously combust, but the spiritual energy of heaven and earth in this space began to surge and turbulent. Rumble. In the dark space, blue-purple thunder appeared one after another, swimming in the black aura, eradicating and removing it. The darkness began to recede at a speed visible to the naked eye, and white light appeared from above, shining into the space, causing the darkness to fade more quickly. In 3 breaths, this space is purified. It can be seen that there is a venerable body scattered at the bottom of the space. Those are the bodies of the ancestors of the devouring temple, and the spirit energy has been melted into the formation seal, leaving only the skin and shell, and there is no meaning of blood Qi. Bang! As the darkness dissipated, these shells burst open at the same time, dissipating in this heaven and earth with an invisible force. This is their best home. A special large array composed of thousands of white gold pillars appeared in front of Zhang Chushuan, with a certain simple and intimidating aura. In the very middle of this formation is the true body of the evil relative. At this time he is barking incompetently, and can only bark incompetently. But neither Zhang Chushuan nor Yun Xuanjian had the idea of listening to it. A demon that is about to be completely erased, why bother? Backquote. Yun Xuanjian spat out a word. Boom. 35. A gap opened in the sky, and purple thunder fell, bombarding the evil qi body. When the thunder dissipated, the voice of the evil qi disappeared. However, Yun Xuanjian did not be careless, but closed his eyes, and his divine thoughts were completely integrated into the large array, so as to awaken the center of the devouring holy monument and project his divine consciousness into the core secret realm of the devouring temple. It's so dilapidated. Oh, quote, devour the temple and become a thing of the past, and the evil demons are gone. The pleasant and flexible sound of the clouds exploded in the sky. The people who were preparing to continue wandering in the secret territory stopped again, their eyes shocked. I saw that the sky cracked again, and blue-purple thunder and light fell, shining to the bottom. The ground shook. Countless surviving fierce beasts died in grief, infinite vitality permeated, and the aura became pure and became more intense. There are many red-eyed people who stop their hand movements, and there is more good clarity and fear in their eyes. There were also ruined buildings trembling and emitting holy light, and began to return to their original appearance, extinguishing all the strange aura around them. There are also buildings that are hidden underground or in special places. At this moment, the lineup of the three-product Holy Land 30,000 years ago really revealed the tip of the iceberg. This corner appears only to purify the weird. As for more, the devouring saint monument is handed over to you. Yun Xuanjian stretched out her hand, and her finger was a little at the center of Zhang Chushuan's eyebrows. In an instant, Zhang Chushuan felt that he had mastered a world and a world. This is the ownership of the devouring monument and the center. Devouring the steel and devouring all the true wealth that the temple possessed, this moment fell into his hands. It was perfect. Skin. Boom. 99. In a dark space, a pair of purple, red, green and other colorful eyes appeared. Countless breaths are intertwined, and countless spaces are shattered and reborn. Among them, 3 of the pupils were golden, and he slowly said, Evil Qi, fallen. This heaven and earth, there is a problem. 58%. Chapter 232. Emperor Venerable Conference, 4 Heaven and Earth Catastrophes. Subscription required. Wait and brainstorm who will make a move at this point in time. In the dark space, a deep voice sounded, like thunder that exploded in the ears of every powerful being, and even this space showed signs of being crushed. More than a dozen pairs of eyes suddenly looked at the existence with 3 golden pupils, and their eyes were full of shock. What? The evil Qi actually fell. How is that possible? That is the 7th Emperor Venerable Evil Relative. In terms of life-saving means is enough to rank first among me and others, will it actually fall? I'm the 5th to fall, right? How could this happen? Or when I am about to start the invasion again, could it be the means left by the Void Emperor? Or the Desolate Emperor and the Life and Death Emperor? I think the Great Emperor of Life and Death is the most likely. After all, it is the last great emperor in this heaven and earth. The law of life and death is extremely strong, and the power of the realm transforms life and death. I don't know how many sons and daughters are killed by me. The Buddha figure also felt that it was the great emperor of life and death. 9,000 years ago I was preparing to set off another catastrophe, but I was blocked by him. Even if the shining emperor crossed over to help, he still did not kill it, but let him escape into the road of the starry sky. It should be that he has a backhand. Damn the great emperor of life and death. 66. After experiencing the initial surprise, a group of demon clan emperors discussed one after another, and finally locked everything on the life and death emperor. 303 inches emperor of life and death. The eyes of the 3-eyed golden pupil emperor Zun shot out a substantial coldness, and even this space was frozen. As the strongest person now, only one step away from the realm of the great emperor, he was most deeply injured by the great emperor of life and death 30,000 years ago, so he also hated this great emperor very much. One of them came from another Dakion world, the master of that Dakion world, and after completing the unification of the 10,000 worlds 210,000 years ago, they began to expand outward, and found this Dakion world to which the Xuantian continent belonged in the chaos. Back then, they came with a total of 20 emperors, quasi-emperors, under the leadership of 3 great emperors, with the belief of overriding the ants. But the First World War broke out and lasted for 100 years. They take the lead in the first and are limited in turn. In One Piece, the 5 great emperors of the human race fought with the 3 great emperors of their clan, shattering this middle thousand worlds, making the Schwantian continent 5 points, the level of the earth vein plummeted, the heaven and earth screamed, and the aura returned to chaos. In those years, the heavenly Tao was invaded by evil demons, and this world was downgraded from the upper middle thousand worlds to the lower level, and the great emperor who could originally give birth to one every thousands of years was changed to 10,000 years to produce one, otherwise the world could not provide for it. In that battle, they did not succeed after all, but fell one great emperor and 3 emperors, which can be described as heavy losses, and the other 2 great emperors and all quasi-emperors, also suffered varying degrees of damage and needed to recuperate. Fortunately, the Schwantian continent side was not without losses, and after the world was degraded, the great emperor's stay time became shorter, and he was forced to enter the Starry Sky Road and seek opportunities to go to the upper realm. And this Starry Sky Road has long been occupied by their clan, and the danger of transformation is lurking, and there are also true and evil true immortals cross-border attacks, which makes it difficult for the emperors to come and go. Originally, these vanguard troops remained in the Schwantian continent to recuperate, and at the same time, they were waiting for foreign aid from the great thousand worlds behind them. But 150,000 years ago, that is, 60,000 years after the ancient war, when they set off a great war again, a new great emperor came out of the Schwantian continent, named Void. The Void Emperor is strong and has made great achievements in the path of space. Even if it is placed among the ancient emperors, it can be ranked in the ranking, and in this second war, he actually restricts the invasion passage in turn, and with the help of other great emperors, he blocked the entrance on the Starry Sky Road. Now the great emperors on the Schwantian continent are basically at the entrance of the Starry Sky Road, confronting the powerhouses of the great thousand worlds behind them, and a new emperor will be born every 10,000 years. These demons who remained in the Schwantian continent have lost reinforcements. It wasn't until another 60,000 years later that the Great Thousand World finally expanded its entrance again, and 10 emperors and 1 great emperor would be sent to support. As the Starry Sky Road opened the great battle, the battle on the Schwantian continent also opened again. But in the past 10,000 years, a new great emperor was born, holding one of the 8 great desolate holy runes condensed by the power of the heavenly Tao of the Schwantian continent through the power of the law. With this barren holy rune, the barren emperor fought alone against the 3 great emperors, and finally turned into a desolate person, actually seriously injuring the 2 evil demon clan emperors and sealing the newly arrived evil demon emperor, as well as 10 quasi-emperors. By now, the 10 quasi-emperors had completely turned into desolation, and the demon emperor had been sealed and asleep, waiting for someone to come to the rescue. As for the desolate emperor, some people think that he is dead, some people think that he has advanced to reincarnation, and some people even think that he turned into a remnant soul and stayed in the desolate rune, waiting for someone with a fate. The third war ended with the Terrans winning. They had to lie dormant in this world again, waiting for the next opportunity. This time, these evil races also began to be smart, not overconfident, but secretly began to lay out within the human race, turning some demon cultivation into evil cultivation, and even letting some so-called genuine demons become their internal responses. Another 60,000 years passed, and the 2 great emperors recovered from their injuries, took them to start a war again, and adopted a steady approach, starting from the South Zon domain, then the East and West Zon domains, then the North Zon domain, and finally conquering the strongest Middle Zon domain. At first, they were very smooth, and with the help of Nei Ying and evil cultivators, the Nanshuan domain quickly fell and became their place to stay. After that, they rushed to the Eastern and Western Zon domain. But just when half of the evil demon clan went out to fight, the great emperor of life and death in the Shishuan domain came out of nowhere, holding the same level of life and death talisman as the desolate Saint Rune, and seriously injured one of their great emperors one-on-one. If it weren't for the timely rescue of another great emperor, he might even fall. In addition, more than 10 Terran quasi-emperor cultivators they had cultivated in secret had been destroyed, and 3 of those 20 emperors had also been destroyed. Heavy losses. The demon clan hates all races, and even more hates the Terran Emperor, but if these races are ranked according to their degree of dislike, the Life and Death Emperor and the Void Emperor can be tied for first place. Now, the great Emperor of Life and Death has been on the Starry Sky Road for 30,000 years, and he has been sent to the upper realm at the other end of the passage by human demons. But they still hate. Shozun, can you determine whether the evil devouring Emperor Venerable has been erased or fallen? An evil quasi-emperor with purple eyes like the evil Chi suddenly asked. When the other dozen quasi-emperors heard this, they all looked at the 3-eyed evil Venerable. The rules of heaven and earth in the evil demon Great Thousand World and the rules of heaven and earth in the Great Thousand World where the Schwantian continent is located are somewhat stronger, but they are a little weaker than the Schwantian continent in terms of the same realm combat power, but after the realm is improved, the lifespan is increased more. If the quasi-emperor exists, the lifespan starts from 10,000. And the demons are proficient in devouring talents, and can plunder other lives to replenish themselves. In the Schwantian continent, they launched a war of aggression in order to devour living beings to increase their life expectancy and allow them to survive longer. Compared with the immortals, the great emperor of Shouyuan is only 10,000 years, and the evil demon emperor has a clear advantage in this regard. But against the enemy, the great emperor of the Schwantian continent is very powerful. This may be a loss and a gain. It was also because of this that although the evil Qi had lost their traces in the invasion war of the Dongshuan domain since 30,000 years, they did not pay much attention to it because the great emperor of life and death intervened at that time. But the evil soul lamp has not been extinguished, which means that he is still alive, and it is likely that he is only sealed. A quasi-emperor involved, they have always paid attention. The Buddha figure sensed it. The evil Qi has been wiped out. There was no news before I died. The three-eyed evil venerable spoke, causing the demons to be shocked. How is that possible? 59%. Chapter 233. Soul Eater Emperor. Battle situation in the upper boundary, subscription required. Impossible. How can evil Qi not even pass on the slightest news? The only quasi-emperor with purple eyes on the scene spoke in shock, completely accepting this fact. Like the evil relatives, it is also from the Splitting Spirit clan, and it was one of the 10 quasi-emperors of the Splitting Spirit clan 210,000 years ago, and the relationship between the two is extremely good. But this is not the reason why it cannot accept the fact that the evil relatives have fallen. In this heaven and earth, even one of their great emperors has been sealed and several seriously injured, and it is not impossible for even the quasi-emperor to die. Even if they have the talent of substituting spirits, the probability of death is the first point at most. What shocked it was that the evil Qi failed to send out useful information before he died, which even the great emperor could not do. Their talent is to divide spirits, and they are in a state of division of spirits in their usual state, that is, 2 points of the spirit and soul, one of which controls the body outside, and the other hides in the void, autonomous, cultivation. This is a law power, the innate ability of the spirit-splitting evil clan. As long as you break through to the divine mansion realm, you can awaken, and then turn on the double-speed cultivation mode, and the void spirit divider can also be used to save life at critical times, or sneak attacks and the like. In the case of the difference in realms, unless the spirit-splitting race chooses to expose the divided soul, others will find out, such as the quasi-emperor realm spirit-splitting race's divine soul, even if it is a true evil immortal, will find it, can't it? Even if the evil Qi encounters the great emperor, with the talent of the spirit-splitting clan, it is absolutely possible to send the final message to the shattered soul lamp before dying, which is the ability to surpass the Tao. Buddha figures also find it strange. The three-eyed golden pupil emperor swept the purple-eyed emperor, and a voice like thunder suddenly sounded in the space. Even if the great emperor makes a move, it is impossible for the evil relatives not to send a distress message or a message of death. Could it be that there are true immortals from this world? As soon as the word true immortal came out, many emperors suddenly felt boundless pressure. The true immortals of the Great Thousand Worlds and the Middle Thousand Worlds of the Schwantian continent are extremely good at war. In addition to the greatly increased life level and the increase in Shouyuan hundreds of times, their combat strength has soared. The strength of the great emperor they have understood. True immortal, it's simply unmatchable. If it is a true immortal, does that mean that my tribe's invasion war has failed? An emperor with green flames burning in his eyes suddenly spoke, making the atmosphere even more dull. They regard the Terrans as ants, and they completely ignore those Terran powerhouses who are far inferior to their fellow realms. But it turned out that 4 great wars, all of them ended in defeat, and countless forces fell. For nearly 30,000 years, they have not received the order of their own world. There will be some speculation, it's normal. Buddha figures. Prick. The three-eyed golden pupil Emperor Venerable was about to say something to boost morale. After all, he was the leader of ordinary Emperor Venerables, but it had just opened its mouth, and this black space suddenly opened an opening. Immediately after, boundless coercion appeared, which made all the emperors' hearts tighten. There was also that special strange aura that moved them. I've seen the Soul Eater Emperor. When a throne of 10,000 zhong made entirely of dead bones emerged, all the emperors lowered their eyes and did not dare to look directly. The person who came is the first of the two great emperors of the evil demon clan, the soul-devouring emperor. The dry bone throne is based on the body of a great emperor, and dozens of quasi-emperor bodies are forged as auxiliaries, representing great danger. I know what is evil. 35. Its destruction has nothing to do with the true immortals. According to my reckoning, it fell into a special formation. Quote. Don't worry. The upper realm has fought a battle. My realm has achieved robbery, and it has already conquered 1/5 of the world of this great thousand worlds, so don't worry about it. After receiving the venerable decree from the evil lord, Bendy will send at least 5 great emperors and 100 quasi-emperors to help him after 1,000 years, so that he can rest and recuperate, and then he will make meritorious deeds. 99. The magic sound sounded in the ears of every emperor, and only felt that everything was silent and the evil soul was turbulent. When the divine consciousness returned, the emperors found that the soul-eater emperor had disappeared. The great emperor's cultivation has advanced again. The soul-eater is deep in the sound, even we can't resist. Mighty. Many emperors whispered, their voices filled with respect for the soul-devouring emperor. Just now they had a feeling that the soul-eater emperor could ask for their lives at any time. Between the emperor and the quasi-emperor, the gap is like a chasm. The words of the great emperor, you all heard. There was a flame in the eyes of the three-eyed golden pupil evil venerable, and he said in an excited voice, there is no need to discuss the matter of evil relatives, everything is just the danger of the formation. Now all evil have begun to prepare, ready to welcome the arrival of the great army in 1,000 years, and completely conquer this heaven and earth. There are 10 great emperors coming, and the forces of the Schwantian continent are just local chickens and dogs. Yes, the eyes of many emperors showed a blazing color. This heaven and earth will finally take them. I understand, our heaven and earth were originally very strong, and many great emperors could be born at the same time. Even 210,000 years ago, the 5 great Zon realms were a whole, and the surrounding sea tribes were all subordinate to my human race. 0 Asking for flowers. Devouring the secret territory of the holy monument, Zhang Chushuan left the inner secret realm with Yun Xuanjian and came to the outside of the altar to meet Wu Yanxi and Bai Tenur. Under the curious inquiry of Wu Yanxi and Bai Tenur, he popularized the science of the 3 daughters about 210,000 years ago by the way. So, you just joined forces to destroy a quasi-emperor. Bai Tenur's expression was very wonderful, and she didn't know how to describe her mood at this time. Even if it is the reincarnation of a quasi-emperor, this is inevitably too unreasonable, right? Wu Yanxi was also shocked. At the same time, she felt weak. Yun Xuanjian is the pinnacle of the great sage, the quasi-emperor remnant soul, countless times more than her king's remnant soul, and she also masters the devouring of holy runes. She can also take out her hand on the ice-casting Tao Sutra, but she has not yet practiced it. And listening to Zhang Chushuan, Yun Xuanjian created his own exercises from the beginning of the refining body realm, and also opened 365 blood tricks in his body, and later perfected the exercises all the way to the quasi-emperor level. It's terrible, but that's exactly what happened. 35. Zhang Chushuan shrugged his shoulders and said lightly, I don't want to, it's that the other party is too weak. If you let the evil Qi hear Zhang Chushuan's words, I am afraid that you will be angry. One hangs up, and dares to run rampant. Yun Xuanjian. This man seems to have some stinky fart. By the way, do you want to refine this devouring saint rune in your heart? Yun Xuanjian casually took the devouring saint rune into his hand. Wu Yanxi and Yun Xuanjian suddenly looked over. Refining. Zhang Chushuan deliberately pretended to be entangled and said, show me first. If it can be directly increased by 100-fold, it will not be refined, and it will be left to Yun Xuanjian to use, and in the hands of the latter, this holy rune can obviously exert a stronger effect. If you can't directly increase the 100-fold, then refine first, then increase the 100-fold, and then give the devouring saint rune to Yun Xuanjian. I believe that Yun Xuanjian will definitely be very moved. After all, this is a quasi-imperial weapon, or a quasi-imperial weapon related to the laws of the heavenly Tao, and it is a way to become an emperor to cheat. By the way, there is also the technique of devouring the immortal emperor can also be used, so that Yun Xuanxian can learn from it. I think that the peerless Tianzhao who can create the secret of the northern Hades Sea will definitely have an unexpected harvest. Well, he is definitely not trying to brush the clouds to make a favorability, absolutely not. After all, he was a man who devoured 100 holy runes. Right, don't worry, I don't want this devouring rune, it's for you. All, you said in advance that it was for you. River. 59%. Chapter 234 Refining and Devouring the Holy Rune, the Rune Controller. I'll break the seal first, and I'll talk about it when you refine it. Yun Xuanjian's face was still cold, and he was noncommittal about what Zhang Chushuan said. But from her self-pronouncement and address to Zhang Chushuan, it can be seen that she is not so calm. After all, this is a devouring rune. Zhang Chushuan knows her so well, and she is the reincarnation of a powerful quasi-emperor. When she has a deep understanding of the devouring rune, she knows what a precious and strange thing it is, and she will not give up even if the emperor gets it. But Zhang Chushuan wanted to leave this devouring rune to her. This kind of generosity makes a string in Yun Xuanjian's heart inevitably be plucked. Devour the rune. As soon as Yun Zan's filigree hand flipped, the silver-black rune in Zhang Chushuan's hand flew to her palm, rotating and loving like a beating note. Old friend, I haven't seen you for a long time. Quote. I'll see each other often in the future. You have to take responsibility for knowing. Yun Xuanjian said. 3, 2, 7, to the devouring rune as if coaxing a child, and then a brilliant light suddenly shot out from the middle of his eyebrows, shining on the rune. Seal, open. As the words fell, the devouring saint rune quickly rotated, and silver and black rays burst out all around, intertwined. Surrounded by these rays, the devouring rune indicates that strange patterns begin to emerge, with black silk and silver light flowing on the pattern, and if you look carefully, you can find that there is a black light cluster on the surface of the rune, and there is a vortex like a black hole inside the light cluster. If you gaze at that vortex, you can't help but be intoxicated. Wu Yanxi and Bai Tenor looked at this scene, their hearts were very shocked, and their eyes were hot. This is the devouring saint rune at the head of the 8 strange things of heaven and earth. However, it is human nature for them to simply show longing for him to devour the holy rune, but there is no greed or other situations. Buzz tilde operator. The devouring token fell on Yun Xuanjian's hand again, and a layer of silver light clusters appeared around it. When the light cluster touched Yun Xuanjian's palm, a shadow appeared, and a cold voice came out. Those who have not been approved by the Buddha figure have no connection with this holy rune. 95. The Comer shows the token. Zhang Chushuan. Wu Yanxi and Bai Tenor. Yun Xuanjian. The illusory face was exactly the same as that of Yun Xuanjian, which was obviously the means she left to show by the devouring saint rune. Is it okay to test yourself by yourself? Yun Xuanjian felt the strange gaze in the eyes of Zhang Chushuan, and 2 light blush appeared on his white jade-like cheeks, and said half-explained and half-explained. This is a means I left behind to protect the holy rune, but if someone stronger than me makes a move, it can still be ignored. 5. The 3 nodded to show their understanding. The holy rune is a wonder of heaven and earth, and it has a miraculous effect against evil demons, and it is normal for Yun Xuanjian, who is the previous controller, to leave some means. There are fish in the north, Kunpeng thousands of li. Quote. Yun Xuanjian swiped her hands, and a ray of light shot towards the devouring saint rune and shone on her own illusory shadow. The illusory face suddenly changed, and a trace of spiritual light appeared in the originally hollow eyes, as if he had come to life and had wisdom. The holy runes are condensed by the way of heaven and the rules of heaven and earth, and those who obtain the holy runes should guard heaven and earth. Runes heirs, remember your responsibility to protect heaven and earth when catastrophe comes. The shadow of the cloud condensed on Zhang Chushuan's body, and the cold voice sounded slowly. Zhang Chushuan and looked at her, then at Yun Xuanjian, and said with a slight tease, I know that this is the protection you left on the holy rune, you don't have to prove it to me. 99. With the ability of Cloud Silk, you can withdraw the seal with a beacon and recover the phantom energy. The reason why he chose to activate is probably to fulfill the responsibility of the previous owner of his holy rune to continue to inform, and at the same time to prove his own statement. After all, the serious appearance of the virtual shadow just now is indeed a little funny. Yun Xuanjian. The blush on her cheeks seemed to be a little thicker, and Yun Xuanjian swore that she had definitely not been particularly touched by this man just now. Humph. 35. Yun Xuanjian snorted with an unknown meaning, and she immediately dispersed when she got the virtual shadow, sending out a black pipe, and smiling at the outer silver light cluster. The devouring rune was finally completely exposed to everyone's eyes. It was an ancient rune that looked like a black hole at first glance. Zhang Chushuan's expression moved slightly, and he took such a holy rune in his hand. The imaginary beep of the 100-fold amplitude increase did not appear. It can't be that the devouring saint rune rank is too high to cause the ability to not work. After all, the immortal emperor's residual quasi-immortal emperor sutra can be increased. It seems that if you don't refine, this holy rune doesn't belong to me, so it can't be refined. Quote, maybe it's the peculiarities of heaven and earth. After all, it is condensed by the heavenly Tao and used to cultivate talents to fight against evil demons. Thinking of this, Zhang Chushuan directly devoured the runes and absorbed them into the runes. The minimum threshold for the use of devouring holy runes is the gathering spirit realm, but it can't even play 1/10,000th of the magic of holy runes, and it may even be swallowed. Only when you go to the Jindan realm and use Jindan to control and devour the holy venerable can you exert some magic clouds, but you can't control it. If you want to refine, the minimum threshold must be the divine mansion realm. If it is a holy lord level, it is to directly sacrifice the divine soul into the holy rune for refining. The refining process is also a test. Whoosh! The moment the holy rune entered the divine mansion, Zhang Chushuan felt that a black hole appeared in front of him, a black hole condensed by the rules of heaven and earth. This black hole appeared in his divine mansion, and only Yuan Yu could see it. Zhang Chushuan's face was slightly solemn. This devouring rune did not move in his divine mansion, as if it had fallen into some kind of deep sleep, and it seemed that he still needed to take the initiative to enter. According to what is written in the novel, Chu Yun was almost lost in this test in the future. If he stared at the black hole, he could also sense the crisis hidden in the calm, and even the Yuan infant in the divine mansion instinctively transmitted fear. I'm afraid of your size. Zhang Chushuan ruthlessly complained about his Yuan baby. Devouring holy runes is very bullish, condensed by the laws of the heavenly Tao and transformed by the rules of heaven and earth. But in front of the avenue-level field, it is nothing. The field is not only targeted, but all forces that are unfavorable to him can be suppressed. The inside of the devouring holy monument is now his sphere of influence, and even a quasi-emperor has just been easily wiped out. What is a mere rune? The legendary devouring saint rune is really good. Then the next step is refining. Zhang Chushuan's eyes froze, and he sat down cross-legged, ready to refine the holy rune. Seeing this scene, Yun Xuanjian suddenly stretched out his hand to stop it, and said with a solemn expression, if you can refine the devouring saint rune, your potential will be greatly increased, whether it is cultivation or against the enemy, you can increase the means. 66. But before that, I'm going to warn you. This devouring talisman not only means the responsibility of maintaining heaven and earth in the future, but also the difficulty of refining now. Not everyone is qualified to refine and devour the holy rune, even if you are the reincarnation of a quasi-emperor, the result in the face of the test is the same. 4.4 inches. Refining the holy rune is also accompanied by infinite danger. Especially the devouring rune. The threshold is the divine mansion realm. Normally you need to distract the divine realm to hold back. Once it fails, the divine soul will be swallowed in it, and there will be no recovery. I almost fell into it. And compared to the strong people above the divine realm, the physical energy of the divine mansion realm and the distraction realm is limited after all, and it cannot be supported for too long in the state of no divine soul. You have to be prepared. Quote, Yun Xuanjian said this very seriously. If you want to get the recognition of the holy rune, it is more like getting the recognition of the heavenly Tao, and strength is secondary. The devouring rune is the most mysterious and difficult to find among the 8 great runes and cannot be taken lightly. This way, under Yun Xuanjian's solemn gaze, Zhang Chushuan nodded, and then smiled. Then how about we make a bet? Bet. 35. If I can successfully refine, you promise me one thing. 59%. Chapter 235. The true meaning of devouring, understanding the law of devouring. Subscription required. Well, I'll bet with you. Yun Xuanjian took a deep look at Zhang Chushuan, and a shallow smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. She readily agreed to the matter without the slightest intention of arguing. But in terms of one thing, if Zhang Chushuan could pass the devouring rune, what harm would she do? The right is a congratulatory gift. Refining the holy rune is very difficult, and it is not an exaggeration to say that it is 9 deaths, but since you have obtained it now, it is indeed a pity to give up directly. If you are really not afraid, just control the divine mansion and bring the Yuan infant into the devouring saint rune. Black hole, you can start the test. Yun Xuanjian did not dissuade again, but opened his mouth to tell his experience when he was tested. After the test opens, you will be immersed in darkness and find light in it. 99. When the light will appear, I don't know. In a black hole, you don't feel the passage of time and it's easy to get out of control. If you can get the approval of the runes, you will see the rune spirit, and after mastering the runes will return to the body. If you can't get the approval of the devouring rune, you will gradually be sealed in the black hole, and eventually the divine mansion will be swallowed by the devouring rune and turned into energy. Be careful. Zhang Chushuan nodded indifferently, his gaze cast on the devouring rune. What he would experience after entering the devouring rune 04, he knew it all. He knew more about this holy rune than Yun Xuanjian. For example, the rune spirit inside the holy rune does not actually exist, otherwise this devouring rune would not be just a quasi-imperial weapon, but an imperial weapon. What the heavenly Tao created back then was actually a rune stone with the power of 8 laws, but the rune stone shattered into the main body and the 8 holy runes. Among them, the rune spirit has been sleeping in the rune stone body, until a holy rune appears and awakens. Then devour the runes, come on. 35. Zhang Chushuan closed his eyes, sank his consciousness into the divine palace, and flew towards the devouring rune. Operator. In an instant, the surface of the devouring saint rune bloomed with light, shooting through Zhang Chushuan's dantian to the outside world, and meeting the eyes of the 3 daughters of Wu Yanxi. The third daughter showed an admiring expression. Take the initiative to put your spirit into that darkness that can drive people crazy, and I don't know how long it will take to come out. This kind of courage is not something that ordinary people can possess. The black light bloomed, and the whole cave became gloomy. Zhang Chushuan no longer knows all this. After the divine mansion flew into the black hole, the environment around him had become pitch black, and there was not even a single conceptual sound or sound. This is a silence that makes people panic in their hearts, and the darkness makes people feel like they are in a strange space that is mercilessly swallowed, and the power is extremely strange. Zhang Chushuan had an indescribable horror in his heart. His consciousness is completely in. Outside, at the moment when Zhang Chushuan's spirit completely sank into the devouring rune, a layer of strange fluctuations and black apertures appeared around his body, absorbing the surrounding spiritual energy in the blink of an eye, and even the light and breath were distorted and swallowed. Zhang Chushuan's whole person feels like a sculpture. If it weren't for the attention of the 3 of Wu Yanxi who had been on him, they would even subconsciously ignore his stone statue. This is the protection given to the tester by devouring the rune, so that the tester does not have to worry about what danger he will encounter when he is tested. If a strong person below the strength of the great sage makes a move against Zhang Chushuan, the attack will dissipate into invisible. As for the strength of the great sage, even if the person who is tested is in the awakened state, I am afraid that he will not have the ability to resist. Hey, it's really uncomfortable. In the middle of a black hole, Zhang Chushuan felt what pure darkness is. At this time, he was not only completely cut off from vision, but even the sense of pain and touch lost its effect. Remove the mind and nothing remains. It's a world of total darkness. Not a trace of light, not a trace of sound. It was an indescribable environment, and in this darkness, Zhang Chushuan could not feel his own existence at all. If you stay in this kind of place for a long time, it is easy to break down. Compared to this darkness, the novel Little Black House is simply hilarious. In the darkness, Zhang Chushuan's mind gradually stabilized after experiencing initial speechlessness. Although it was silent, boundless, dark, it felt like nothing existed. But consciousness exists, and he can do things. System. Zhang Chushuan shouts in his heart, full name family building system. Ideographic period. The next moment, a virtual panel emerges, revealing a familiar page. Zhang Chushuan has never felt so intimate with this panel. The light emitted by the panel could not be devoured, and it was obvious that the level was much higher than that of the devouring rune. No loss is a system that can allow billions of people to cross, powerful. The corners of Zhang Chushuan's mouth were slightly upturned. That is enough to easily drive this normal person's environment, and he can easily crack it. He actually understands that in order to pass the test, he needs to remain calm at all times, so that he does not sink into the darkness, carry the torture, and put it to death to live, and then succeed. Devouring runes is an opportunity and a responsibility. But if you want to take on this responsibility, you also need to pass the tempering and testing that ordinary people cannot bear. We must walk step by step in this darkness in an unconscious and unconscious form, all worlds, adapt to the darkness, and feel lonely in order to succeed. The dark world will become infinitely long, and even the concept of time will be erased. In this moment, it is like 10,000 years. Walking for 10,000 years seems endless. The long and endless darkness can make people panic, despair, and madness. Eventually subdued, self-destructive. Only after experiencing this can you stick to your heart, and in turn exercise your mental state of mind more and more tenaciously, can you succeed. Wait until you forget yourself, forget the darkness, forget everything. You can comprehend the true meaning of devouring from the darkness, nothingness. Everything comes out of nothing, and everything returns from nothing. As long as you understand this heaven and earth will light up. Devouring is darkness. Darkness swallows light, and light swallows darkness. Understand the transformation of existence and absence, and you can find light in the endless darkness and step through this world. Although I know the method, I can't find out the truth. Quote. Really let me go to the dark to practice and torture myself. I'm not masochistic. 99. You can't torture yourself by torturing yourself. You can only take advantage of it and barely maintain your life. Then, sink. Zhang Chushuan originally used the Tao realm to crush this side to devour the enchantment. But considering that this would inevitably have 327 not giving face to the heavenly Tao, I decided to change to a softer method. Cheating is the truth. Sure enough, Yun Xuanjian's perception of the law of devouring. Zhang Chushuan successfully found Yun's name on the family section affiliate column. Synchronous skills can be used passively and actively, inheriting the understanding of martial arts, exercises, artistic conception and other aspects of martial arts by all core members of the family. For affiliated members, only 70% of a certain perception can be synchronized every month, and active activation is also required. This ability Zhang Chushuan is rarely used because his subordinates are weak. But with Yunjian, it's different. Quote, Zhang Chushuan felt a myriad of information pop up in his head. It is a comprehension of the law of devouring, involving composition, application, insight, and so on. At this moment, Zhang Chushuan felt that his original perception of the world had changed. It seems that before water was just water, but now I am looking at a bunch of molecules, even atoms. Yun Xuanjian was already a half-step quasi-emperor, and his comprehension of the law of devouring tended to be complete. Even if Zhang Chushuan only inherits 70%. The perception of the world, laws, etc., has also undergone a metamorphosis. It's as if a toddler who could only add and subtract within 2 digits suddenly becomes proficient in calculus, or more. This is the law. Zhang Chushuan sighed inwardly. Although he has understood, but the realm is not enough, it is still the power that he cannot use. But, I've seen through this test. 59%. Chapter 236 Devouring Transformation, you can become a king with one thought. This world can't trap me anymore. Zhang Chushuan's voice sounded in this space without warning. A brilliant light lit up from the depths of darkness and stopped at a location. The next moment, one foot steps into the light, then the lower body, the upper itself, until the whole body is revealed. Zhang Chushuan looked down at his feet, and there was a brilliant twinkle in his originally empty and godless eyes. This, is it the power of the divine soul? Zhang Chushuan clenched his fist, felt a steady stream of power pouring out of the soul's body, and couldn't help but have a flat smile on his face. This feeling, I can completely hang myself who had a body a minute ago just by relying on the divine soul, and even only need to rely on one move to devour the heavenly palm to win steadily. Too powerful. Zhang Chushuan clenched his fist, and his eyes flashed. The essence of breaking through to the divine mansion realm to the distraction realm lies in the fusion of the Yuan infant and the divine mansion and turning into a divine soul. At this point, God can be independent. This is an essential improvement. But he also wants to continue to polish the foundation in the divine mansion realm, and the most important thing is to open a few more treasure chests, so this countless divine mansion realm dreams of the distraction realm is not in a hurry to break through. And now, he could feel that his Yuan infant had transformed into a divine soul, or with the power of a divine soul, the divine palace was still there. The level of cultivation is the divine mansion, but the realm is distraction. But now as long as he thinks about it, he can become a true saint lord level power. This benefit is interesting. I'm afraid I don't have to rush to break through for a long time. Quote. The corners of his mouth turned up slightly. Zhang Chushuan raised his head and walked towards the end of the light in front of him, and said lightly, the way of devouring, the way of all things to one. Everything is real, everything is an illusion. Devour the holy rune, this void realm can't trap me. Zhang Chushuan smiled lightly, stepped out, and the person had come to the end of the darkness, the beginning of the light. Taking another step, the dark enchantment behind him began to shatter, and countless rays of light bloomed. Heaven and earth have changed. The light spread like a dot in the darkness, and this space suddenly evolved into an endless starry sky, and under his feet turned into a huge continent, like a satellite watching a planet in a previous life. I can see the Xuantian continent. Zhang Chushuan had a realization in his heart. He was taken by the devouring saint rune to the sky above the Xuantian continent and roamed the starry sky. But it may just be projected here, and it is not really a spirit. It is also possible that the devouring rune projected the starry sky into this space. All in all, this is the scene of heaven and earth, the great power of the avenue. Soon, a brilliant light bloomed, condensing into an ancient rune, quietly hanging not far from Zhang Chushuan, attracting all his eyes. Fooling me. Zhang Chushuan's eyes condensed slightly. He is now devouring the body of the holy rune, so what he can see is naturally the devouring of the holy rune spirit. This means that he has been approved by the runes. Come here. Zhang Chushuan waved at Fu Ling. But the rune spirit did not move, but transformed into a body. To be precise, it is a constant transition between the two bodies. Zhang Chushuan took a closer look and found that one of the figures was a cloud curse, and every detail was very realistic. Is this the mechanism by which the heavenly Tao is set in this holy rune? Zhang Chushuan suddenly felt in his heart. Devouring the holy rune is said to have no rune, and the rune spirit is in the rune stone. But in the end, the holy object is a holy artifact, and its power is enough to rival the imperial weapon, but it lacks the spirit of the vessel. Now this rune will transform into its owner's form, which can be described as very high-end. When the strength of the controller is not strong, the instrument spirit is also considered strong, and it is impossible to fight independently by the control of the instrument spirit like the emperor weapon. But when the strength of the controller is strong enough, it can play a failure that is comparable to most imperial weapons, or even stronger. If it is also a great emperor, the effect that the devouring rune can exert is to hang the emperor weapon. However, devouring the holy rune does not want to be like an imperial weapon, and it can also be effective without anyone controlling it. Good. Zhang Chushuan couldn't help but exclaim. He also liked this type of spiritual weapon. As for his single-minded use of temporary spiritual weapons, it was completely fine. Then, confess the Lord. Zhang Chushuan smiled and spoke. Buzz. The devouring rune spirit trembled, emitting a strange humming sound, and the figure began to change again, and finally froze to be exactly the same as Zhang Chushuan. The next moment, Zhang Chushuan stretched out his hand. Seeing this, Zhang Chushuan also stretched out his hand and slapped him. Snap. Two palms together. Fu Ling Zhang Chushuan's pitch-black eyes suddenly rotated, turning into a pitch-black vortex like a black hole. Zhang Chushuan looked at all this, and his eyes were even dark, just like the previous clouds, as if they could fuse everything. And when the devouring power in the eyes of the two was completely synchronized, the rune spirit Zhang Chushuan suddenly exploded, retransformed into a holy rune, and then flashed into the center of Zhang Chushuan's eyebrows. Zhang Chushuan's pitch-black eyes directly turned into real black holes, and the devouring power spread out one after another, and everything around him began to be swallowed, whether it was starlight or stars. Inheritance. Zhang Chushuan understood that he had received an inheritance from the devouring rune, the devouring pupil. Double pupils can turn into black pupils and swallow everything. This is the hallmark ability of every devouring talisman master, although Zhang Chushuan has only appeared 3 times so far. The devouring pupil must be cast by devouring the holy rune, which means that Yan Xuanjian has now lost this means. And in the face of this means, killing the enemy beyond the rank is as simple as chopping melons and cutting vegetables. Very good, very powerful. Zhang Chushuan was very satisfied with this new ability, and with a thought, his consciousness had returned to the ontology Dantian. And the body that devoured the holy rune also turned into a stream of light and disappeared into the holy rune, living in the divine soul. Even if the emperor came, he could not pry. Zhang Chushuan was shocked, felt the boundless devouring power of the rune, began to transform his body and every blood trick, and opened more blood tricks, knowing that the number of 365 stopped. His strength skyrocketed again. Imagine that fighting against the same realm, he has a full 365 blood tricks to devour the aura together, and it is faintly connected. Ignoring factors such as exercises and physique, Reiki absorbing instant noodles alone is at least 3 times ahead. What's more, the power of devouring is extraordinary. It is not an ordinary absorption method at all, and this speed will increase. All the advantages are superimposed. He is just ordinary to absorb aura, and he is also 10 times faster than people with the same conditions. At this time, if he mobilizes the devouring rune again, if there is a special exercise. Well, Zhang Chushuan can understand why Yan Xuanjian broke through so happily. This cheat is not at all reasonable to see. The point is that the foundation is still very solid. Devouring power. Zhang Chu Ok Zhao Zan felt that each of his blood tricks turned into stars, and then exploded with a bang and turned into a drink. For a while, the stars collapsed, and the aura surged. In the blood, the black hole that exists in the beard is constantly born and destroyed. The divine mansion also began to change drastically with the arrival of the holy runes. The spirit began to become more stable. The quality of the shrine also began to improve. Shish. Zhang Chushuan was shocked. His divine mansion was transformed by the fusion of yin and yang and tu qi of the 9 revolutions golden pill, and its quality was extremely high, otherwise he would not have been able to raise his strength to the half-step Saint Lord level in one step. Now that the divine mansion has been promoted again, he has a feeling that except for the essence of his life, he has entered the distraction realm. And it can also hang the ordinary God mansion realm. If I mobilize the divine mansion to merge with my own divine soul, I am afraid that I can directly break through to the peak of the distraction realm, or even directly break through to the divine realm, right? 5. Breaking through to the divine realm is the one who has the power to break through to the king. The king is near. One thought. 60%. Chapter 237. The Devouring Saint rune increased 100-fold, and Yunzan was shocked. As we all know, the distraction realm is called a powerful, and the Yuan infant and the divine mansion can briefly leave the body and turn into heaven and earth, or nothingness. In this way, the spirit can hide itself at any time, making it difficult to detect, and can also hide when attacked. And the divine realm, known as the king, the divine soul is further powerful, can be used as a second body, not to mention, but also comprehend the power of space, sense the power of heaven and earth, travel the heaven and earth without extinguishing. Now, Zhang Chushuan feels like he's ready to be king. With the strength of his current divine soul and the quality of the divine palace, he is afraid that he will soar to the level of the divine realm, comparable to the body. As for the power of space, he had already completed his comprehension after mastering the martial art of shrinking the ground into inches. This devouring holy rune, refining is really worth it. Quote. I can't help but look forward to getting a new rune. 35. Zhang Chushuan's heart was on fire. At this time, all parts of his body finally returned to calm. In the divine mansion, a black hole appeared at the center of the divine soul's eyebrows, with the power of devouring. The black hole in the 365 blood tricks in the body is closely connected to this black hole, and the devouring power is all over the body, and the speed of absorbing spiritual energy has reached the terrifying level. Now even if he crosses the level to perform a powerful martial art, the lost aura can be made up for in the breath. The confession ceremony is completed. Zhang Chushuan did not rush to open his eyes, but quietly felt the changes in his body, and then put his divine consciousness on the devouring rune. If you find a strange thing that can consume heaven and earth, swallow 327 devouring talismans, quasi-emperor weapons. You can choose to double the following. 1. Devouring runes, quasi-emperor artifact, x 100. 2. Devouring imperial rune, imperial artifact. Sure enough, the wonders of heaven and earth can also be increased 100-fold after recognizing the Lord. There are only 2 options, but Zhang Chushuan is completely understandable. If he chooses to, this devouring holy rune in the divine mansion will be replaced by the devouring emperor rune, giving birth to extremely powerful weapon spirits, like other imperial weapons, and can also fight independently. Since it is obtained through a 100-fold amplification ability, this imperial weapon will be completely loyal to him and obey his orders, and unlike other imperial weapons that need to spend a lot of time to recuperate after each use, devouring imperial runes is a transformation from devouring holy runes, and the speed of devouring spiritual energy will not be slower than that of ordinary quasi-emperor strongman. This is equivalent to saying that he has an additional quasi-emperor strong person in his hand that can be used. Not only that, the imperial vessel is inscribed with the great emperor Tao fruit and the emperor scripture. If he uses a 100-fold increase to obtain the devouring emperor rune, the Tao fruit derived from it will be an ownerless thing, and with his consent, any can be swallowed. This means that a path to becoming a great emperor without compromising the foundation lies ahead. The temptation is not ordinary. But Zhang Chushuan was only moved for a moment, and then made a choice. I choose 1. If the devouring saint rune is really transformed into the emperor swallowing rune, then there will never be a day in this heaven and earth when the 8 holy runes and runes will be reorganized into the 8 Tao rune quasi-immortal artifact. Unless the 8 holy runes and runes are increased by 100-fold, upgraded to the level of the emperor weapon, and then fused, maybe you can ascend to the sky in one step and obtain the immortal level 8 runes. But at that time, the 9 rune spirits still had the existence of the island country, and it was really difficult to fuse. On the contrary, if you increase the number of runes and the 8 holy runes by 100-fold, then you can get 108 path runes quasi-immortal weapons in the future, and you can increase them by 100-fold at that time. That is 108 path runes immortal level. How to calculate. The current increase is more cost-effective. What's more, with a 100-fold increase in the number now, the Zhang family can have 100 more people who have mastered the Devouring Saint rune, and the cultivation speed has increased countless times again. Buzz. Inside the Divine Mansion, the Devouring Saint rune suddenly shattered. For a moment, all the creatures on the Xuantian continent heard thunder ringing in their ears, as if the heavenly Tao was about to cry. But in the next moment, when 100 devouring runes appeared, everyone heard a laughter in their minds, as if the heavenly Tao was happy. But all this happened in a very short period of time, so short that countless people thought that they had auditory hallucinations, and only a very small number of people who cultivated to the pinnacle realized that something seemed to have changed in this heaven and earth. But when they used means to deduce and calculate, they found that the heavenly machine was chaotic and could not speculate about anything. Weird. Many people looked surprised. Now the heavenly machine has become somewhat blurred. This is a sign of the impending catastrophe of heaven and earth, but it is only a sign, and it is still a long time before it really arrives. They can't count something, which is very strange. Although the specific situation cannot be deduced, it seems to be a good thing for this world. Year. Good. Meanwhile. AEEE. Dongshuan Domain. Devouring the space inside the holy monument. After Zhang Chushuan began to refine the Devouring Saint rune, a trace of worry flashed in Wu Yanxi's eyes, and he said with admiration and exclamation, he actually doesn't need to refine the Devouring Saint rune to reach the top, but he is still willing to take this risk. It should be for this heaven and earth. Bai Tenor said heavily, with admiration in her voice. What do you say? Yun Xuanjian asked curiously. She had refined the Devouring Saint rune, and she could especially understand what a great opportunity this was. As long as you don't fall in the middle, point directly at the quasi-emperor. Although the refining Devouring Saint rune 9 dead for life, no one would give up this opportunity, so Zhang Chushuan's behavior just now seemed normal to her. As for Zhang Chushuan, he promised to give her the devouring talisman. Before refining, she believed. But after refining, she felt that it was impossible. This is a quasi-imperial weapon comparable to an imperial weapon, a shortcut to the emperor, the first of the 8 sacred runes, and a sacred object and cultivation aid with both attack and defense. Such treasures, if it weren't for Zhang Chushuan's life-saving grace for her, and the power of that realm that made her jealous, she might not be willing to give it up. From luxury to frugality. But now through the meaning of Wu Yanxi and Bai Tenor, this devouring holy rune is really accumulation. The seniors want to know, and the juniors don't hide it. 39. Wu Yanxi said that he had the most right to speak, and said solemnly, seniors know how long it took Zhang Chushuan to break through from the refining body realm to the peak of the current divine mansion realm. Yun Xuanshou's eyebrows frowned slightly. Wu Yanxi asked, Zhang Chushuan's cultivation time will definitely not be long. She gave you Zhang Chushuan bone age over 60, but it is difficult to speculate. Half a year. Without waiting for Yun Xuanjian to guess, Yun Xuanjian spat out the answer. Time Secret Realm does not need to be counted. Because this Time Secret Realm is very mysterious, it will not affect Shouyuan. Moreover, this is one of Zhang Chushuan's methods. Half a year. Yun Zan was shocked. In exchange for her recultivation, even if there are countless treasures devoured, the exercises are very powerful, but it is impossible to complete the 4 realms in half a year. Moreover, his view of Zhang Chushuan's foundation realm is very stable, no worse than he was back then. But that's not worth the shock. Wu Yanxi's eyes changed for a while, and he said in a deep voice, after all, Zhang Chushuan is already 60 years old, and he is the reincarnation of a quasi-emperor, so he has prepared well in advance, and these things are not impossible. But under his leadership, it only took 7 months for a newborn family to be promoted from quasi-9th rank to 9th rank. Not only that, as far as I know, at least 30 people have followed him all the way from ordinary refining body realm martial artists, and now the worst is also a real person in the Jaden realm, and many of them have even broken through to the divine mansion realm. Zhang Chushuan's grandchildren, all under the age of 20, had already reached the peak of the Jaden realm and even the divine mansion realm. But this time they did not take more than 10 years, but half a year. Senior, can you imagine? 99. Wu Yanxi solemnly looked at each other with Yun Xuanxi. At this time, Yun Xuanjian had completely lost the ability to think. Rao was once only 1 step away from the quasi-emperor, and she was still the lord of the Sanpin Holy Land, and her mind couldn't turn a corner at this time. How is that possible? 60%. Chapter 238. Bai Tenor, Wu Yanxi is already in the shape of Zhang Chushuan, subscription required. How is that possible? The expression on Yun Xuanjian's face can be described as quite exciting. If she is allowed to reincarnate and cultivate, even if she does not have many resources, she can reach the divine mansion realm before the age of 20, or even stronger. She is a devourer of the holy venerable. But it is precisely because she is the devouring saint venerable that she can do this, a little. You can't always Zhang Chushuan's descendants or all-powerful reincarnations, right? Even if it was too exaggerated to break through from the refining body realm to the divine mansion realm in half a year, she couldn't do it. So, the Zhang family are all monsters, and dozens of core members are stronger than her. She is amazed by the devouring saint venerable of an era, but she has the cheating technique of the northern Hades sea technique, and the pro-devouring saint venerable of the cheating weapon of devouring the holy rune. She has been surpassed. Isn't everyone in the Zhang family stronger than her? Wu Yanxi and Bai Ten'er saw Yun Xuanjian's expression, and their hearts suddenly became comfortable. The two of them, one is the lord of the four-rank forces, a generation of kings, and the title of Queen Wu. One has a holy body, comes from an imperial family, and has extraordinary knowledge. But in front of Zhang Chushuan, in front of the Zhang family, a bunch of monsters, he was struck to the point of self-shame. Now Yun Xuanjian is the same as them, and it feels very good. But not enough. The seniors didn't know that I was actually from the imperial family and had a holy body, but now I chose to stay in the dynasty started by the Zhang family. Bai Ten'er added. A large part of the reason for her stay in the Yanwang dynasty was due to the family's own infighting environment, but she deliberately did not say it. Yun Xuanjian's expression really changed a little. The descendants of the imperial family with the holy body must be cultivated at the top level in the clan, but Bai Ten'er chose to stay in the dynasty founded by Zhang Chushuan. Doesn't it mean that the power created by the Zhang family is stronger than that of an imperial family? I once took out a book of exercises, and it only took Zhang Chushuan a cent of time to transform it into a fairy path exercise, pointing directly to the realm of true immortals. Wu Yanxi said with some emotion. Zhang Chushuan actually obtained a relatively weak quasi-immortal emperor scripture by using the hundredfold amplification ability, which can be cultivated into a red dust immortal. However, Wu Yanxi only knew that the immortal ice heart technique had a follow-up chapter of the great emperor, and only thought that it was the true immortal technique. But this was enough to make Yun Xuanjian shocked. By the way, the Zhang family recently possessed a soul land, which has hundreds of millions of soul stones. The power opened up by the Zhang family is a six-pin dynasty, and the head of the dynasty is also a woman of Zhang Chushuan, with a Zui phoenix body. My disciple is the Xuanian Holy Vein, who just completed his awakening half a year ago, and is now a master of the divine mansion realm. Quote. My nephew was only a peak martial artist of the refining body realm half a year ago, without any special physique, but now he has cultivated too. Wu Yanxi and Yun Xuanjian are constantly telling the strength of Zhang Chushuan. Quote. Yun Xuanjian was shocked in his heart, and completely understood the meaning of Wu Yanxi and Bai Ten'er's words. With the background shown by Zhang Chushuan, it is a sure thing to break through the emperor in the future, and the Zhang family is a monster family. What can be done step by step? Zhang Chushuan took the risk of refining and devouring the rune. For normal people, then the chance of success of 1 in a billion is also worth fighting for. Cultivators, what they implement is a fight word. But for Zhang Chushuan, this situation seems to be somewhat unsuccessful. Then why did he refine the devouring talisman then? After understanding, Yun Xuanjian was more suspicious. I think there's only one answer. Wu Yanxi retracted her expression and said solemnly, Senior must be completely sure before accepting this test. 5. Absolutely sure. Yun Xuanjian raised her eyebrows slightly, and although she didn't say it, she obviously didn't believe it. As the second owner, she knows some information that outsiders do not know. For example, in the past million years, the devouring rune has been found basically every 10 years, and tens of thousands of people have been tested. Among these people, in terms of outstanding talents, there are many descendants of the Holy Body and the Emperor clan, and those who are powerful. There was a great emperor who wanted to try to comprehend the law of devouring and participate in the test of the law of devouring, but still failed in the end. That great emperor was the only existence that did not fall after defeat among the tens of thousands of people who participated in the test, but he was also injured and recuperated for thousands of years before recovering, and finally had to re-release the devouring rune on the continent and let it go. Throughout the ages, only 2 people have succeeded. She knew very well that unless she comprehended the law of devouring or cultivated in the realm of true immortals, she was fully sure of passing the test of devouring the holy rune. Even if Zhang Chushuan had her help, it would only improve the odds. But there is no need to argue with Wu Yanxi about these. Those who have not truly comprehended the devouring talisman have no way of understanding how difficult this test really is. It seems that the seniors don't believe it. Wu Yanxi noticed Yan Xuanxi's slight expression, and the corners of her mouth hooked up a glance with Zhang Chushuan, and said, "Then do you want to gamble?" White sandalwood. How does this sound familiar? Yan Xuanjian. Is this really taking yourself as a wronged head? What do you want to bet on? Even a wish without specific content gambled with Zhang Chushuan, and Yan Xuanjian did not refuse to gamble with Wu Yanxi. Quan Dang expected Zhang Chushuan's success. Wu Yanxi was overjoyed and couldn't wait to ask, "How about a top saint-level martial art?" It seems that you have a lot of confidence in Zhang Chushuan. Seeing Wu Yanxi's expression in his eyes, Yan Xuanxian smiled lightly and nodded, "Okay, I'll bet with you." "Okay." In a word. Wu Yanxi showed a treacherous smile. Zero asking for flowers. Bai Tenor next to him saw this scene. The corner of his eyes twitched, and finally he couldn't hold back and said, "Yanxi, do you have a top saint-level martial arts?" The Dharma realm, being known as a saint, can be condensed into the Dharma phase of heaven and earth. The saint used the method to fight, earth-shattering, and it was called revealed. The martial arts of the saints is also known as the martial arts of the law phase, which is specially performed by the 10,000 Zhang Faxiang, with incredible power, which is greater than the power displayed by the general martial arts usage. This state is not easy to achieve. The realm of law is made into a small realm for a day. At the peak of the Dharma phase realm, there are saints who have just entered the Dharma phase realm, which is as easy as a strong man beating a child. The top martial arts of the saint level can greatly increase the strength of the strong of the law phase realm, and even reach the level of leapfrogging battles. Although Bai Tenor is a descendant of the imperial family, except for the quasi-emperor level that comes with the holy body, the most powerful means is the royal martial arts. In her heyday, Yan Xuanjian was a half-step quasi-emperor, saying that she had quasi-emperor martial arts, and Bai Tenor believed it. 0. But if you want Wu Yanxi, it would be good to have saint-level martial arts, and you can also have saint-level martial arts. If there had been this, it would not have fallen so easily in the first place. Me, I can only have a saint-level top martial arts. 35. Wu Yanxi spread her hands out, indicating that she didn't. Bai Tenor showed an expression that was really so. Yun Zan was stunned for a moment, and said strangely, "You can't get the gambling capital and actually come to bet with me. What's wrong with that?" Wu Yanxi waved his hand without caring and said with a smile, "I won't lose, as long as you have martial arts for me." Yun Xuanjian, I was an empty glove white wolf. If you lose, I won't just forget it. Yun Xuanjian's voice carried a hint of threat. The great sage is not to be humiliated. She treats Wu Yanxi and Yan Yuxi, just because everyone is of the same human race, and she has not talked to anyone for a long time, plus there is a relationship between Zhang Chushuan. But this cannot be a reason for Wu Yanxi to beat Xiaoming on her. Wu Yanxi will not be able to pay the price when the time comes, so he is ready to work for her. Although she is also a remnant soul now, her strength is still maintained at the saint level under normal circumstances, and it is easy to deal with Wu Yanxi. Wu Yanxi didn't take Yun Xuanjian's threat to heart at all, but asked Bai Tenor, "Don't you also come to make a profit?" White sandalwood. Yanxi, you feel like you've become the shape of Zhang Chushuan. Wu Yanxi's face turned red at once, and he argued, "You talk nonsense. How could I be in her shape, and we're nothing?" Yun Xuanjian, Bai Tenor, Zhang Chushuan. Good fellow, is this woman so dirty? River. 60%. Chapter 239 is really given casually, and Yun Xuanjian instantly falls. Although Senior Yun is a peak great sage, that can only represent talent and combat strength, but it does not represent the understanding of seniors. I've known my senior for so long, and I know his character too well, and I won't do even things that may fail. Senior is not the reincarnation of the quasi-emperor at all, I suspect that it is the reincarnation of a true immortal. Gauze. The dream of sage martial arts, just got it with empty gloves white wolf, or top level, tisk. Sure enough, it confirmed that sentence, and I followed the seniors to eat meat. With saint-level martial arts, I can pretend to be in front of Yan Ran at that time. For the teacher, that is to master the existence of saint-level martial arts, a generation of martial artists. 99. Wow click, the picture is so unbeautiful. At that time, the expression will be very exciting, and when you beg me well, I will give it to you, who will let you think carefully. Humph, I treat you as a dear apprentice, but you want me to be a little grandmother. It's so reasonable. You actually found Sister Mu Shui to talk to me. I was confused at that time. 330. Although it is said that if that person is a senior, it is not impossible to agree, but this kind of thing should let a man come to the senior, But Sister Mu Shui came to talk to me. It definitely won't be her own opinion. I should have talked with the seniors in advance, so this is also the meaning of the seniors. Well, a generation of kings suffered betrayal. The remnant soul was discovered by the domineering emperor. Spoiled, the green clouds went straight up, sweet pets. Don't look at Wu Yanxi's appearance as more heroic, and there is a title like Wu Empress. Her temperament is also peerless, and she is still very warlike. But no one knows that she has a little girl living in her heart, who used to like to secretly read those stories in private, and she was easily moved. If it weren't for her young age and need to shoulder the responsibility of inheriting her own power, she would definitely live like an ordinary young lady and cultivate many hobbies when cultivating, such as touching the piano and arranging flowers. Alas, these are just ifs. She had to look at the script and pin this emotion. If Zhang Yanren becomes stronger according to the original trajectory, she still needs to maintain the appearance of a strict master for a long time, in order to better cultivate disciples. But Zhang Chushuan came out of nowhere, so that she didn't need to worry about anything at all in the past 6 months, and even did everything with a feeling of backers behind her. Over time, her true character has begun to be revealed. Otherwise, how could he show his grave robber side without concealing it in the slightest? Wu Yanxi fantasized to herself, with her king-level divine soul and Saint Lord-level soul power cultivation, these thoughts were only in an instant. Then she heard Bai Tenor say that she had transformed into the shape of Zhang Chushuan. Thinking of some of the things that the male and female protagonists would do when the words were critical, Wu Yanxi felt a burst of shyness in her heart. That is, the soul state would not blush, but she still couldn't help arguing, Tenor, you are so dirty, how can I become the shape of Zhang Chushuan? Neither of us has anything. Yun Xuanjian, is it that the elderly cannot keep up with the pace of youth? Or is it that Bai Tenor and Wu Yanxi are facing some code? Why did she understand the conversation between these two women, but she didn't seem to understand it? White sandalwood. What a mortal answer did Wu Yanxi answer? After experiencing a moment of doubt, Bai Tenor immediately reacted to what Zhang Yanren was thinking, and now she was extremely speechless, and an unnatural blush appeared on her cheeks, arguing, Yay! Who the hell is dirty? What the hell are you thinking? I mean, you have the same heart as Zhang Chushuan. 35. Bai Tenor was drunk. Obviously, she just wanted to say that Wu Yanxi had the same heart as always appearing, and it was clear that the pit people were in the clouds. How did it get into Wu Yanxi's mouth, and it became that kind of thing? I don't have a heart. Surname Zhang, my surname is Wu. Wu Yanxi blinked her eyes cutely. Bai Tenor almost spewed out a mouthful of old blood. This hand pretending to be crazy and selling stupid clothes is good. If she hadn't known each other for more than half a year and had a full understanding of Wu Yanxi, she would have believed it. Haha, in fact, I just hurried up to let Sister Yun understand a truth. Quote. Seeing Bai Tenor speechless, Wu Yanxi wisely changed the topic and said, as the saying goes, eat one trench and grow wisely. Only when she is pitted will Sister Yun deeply understand the truth that seniors can't deal with common sense. Wu Yanxi said solemnly. Bai Tenor almost believed it. The corners of Yun Xuanjian's eyes twitched, and he wanted to ask speechlessly, do you want me to thank you? She had already decided that if Zhang Chushuan failed, she would make Yun Xuanjian pay a painful price. Obviously she had prayed for Zhang Chushuan to succeed, but now that she was so troubled by Wu Yanxi, she actually hoped that Zhang Chushuan would fail. Sin. It's a good idea, but shouldn't you divide the benefits with me? A voice suddenly sounded in the ears of the three women, startling them. Instinct looked somewhere, and they saw that Zhang Chushuan had opened his eyes at some point and was looking at them playfully. Shish. The three daughters were shocked in their hearts. Although Wu Yanxi Bai Tenor firmly believed that Zhang Chushuan could succeed, she did not expect that he could pass the test quickly, and the front and back added up to less than a tea time. Where is this test? It is simply a process. How is that possible? Yun Xuanjian was shocked in his heart. The devouring rune recognized the Lord assessment she knew very well. 0. It was a pitch-black space without bounds, without sound, without a trace of light, not even touch, and the participants could only move forward aimlessly with their consciousness. And this going forward is only a cognition, the real situation is unknown. In that environment, one's spirit is easily frightened, then boundless trembling, and finally completely collapsed. It's not a place to be alone. Yun Xuanjian had only admired two people in his life, one of whom was the first master of the devouring Saint Rune, a powerful existence who passed the test completely by his own will. There is a general reason why Yun Xuanjian can pass the test is that she is recognized by the Lord of the first-person devouring, just like after she now recognizes Zhang Chushuan, the latter is easy to pass the test. How is it done? Yun Xuanjian looked at Zhang Chushuan with an incredulous expression. Could this person be the reincarnation of a true immortal? No, the reincarnation of true immortals is not so strong. Maybe it is true immortals who are mortal, and their body weight is cultivated. It may be that the devouring rune is the mother. Look at me, handsome. Zhang Chushuan replied nonchalantly, and then casually waved his hand and threw a devouring talisman to Yun Xuanjian. What does that mean? The palm touched the devouring rune. Feeling the familiar devouring power, Yun Xuanjian's heart shook, and his voice trembled and asked. It's not that she can't guess the answer, and it is because she thinks about it that she feels incredulous. This is a devouring rune. The wonders of heaven and earth that can only be obtained after 9 deaths can lead people to become emperors. Once you become a great emperor, you can become the first strong person in the Xuantian continent, invincible for 10,000 years, and then climb the road of the starry sky to find the opportunity to become an immortal. Become an immortal, you can still live and live with Tianqi, immortal. So tempting Zhang Chushuan Ju 4.4 just gave her so casually. Or to give it to her after receiving the approval of the devouring rune, which has a completely different meaning. According to the agreement, the things will return to their original owners. Zhang Chushuan shrugged his shoulders nonchalantly. I said it, devouring the holy rune to send you. Yun Xuanjian didn't see a trace of reluctance on Zhang Chushuan's face. This man was genuinely giving up the devouring talisman to her. Very foolish, but her heart couldn't help but tremble, deeply imprinting Zhang Chushuan's appearance. This man is the best, most selfless, and best man she has ever met in her life. Grandma, that person, I seem to have found it. Yun Xuanjian lowered his head, closed his eyes, and held the devouring saint rune in both hands to his chest. After a long while, she suddenly raised her head and floated into Zhang Chushuan's arms to offer a kiss. This devouring talisman should be a dowry, I accept it. Zhang Chushuan, Bai Tenor, Wu Yanxi. 60%. Chapter 240 Kiss. Luck Fire Phoenix transformed, Yi Shi broke through the god. Children, do you have a lot of question marks? Zhang Chushuan's mind sounded with a familiar piece of music from his previous life. Real men, no hypocrisy. With such an advantage, every cell exudes a poppy-like attraction, it is impossible for him not to be moved, and he does not intend to let this woman slip away from his hands. But he didn't expect that this woman would take such an initiative. Too unexpected. And not hate. This kind of thing, you are a novice or need me to guide. 55. With a smile in his eyes, Zhang Chushuan reached out and grabbed Yun Xuanjian's waist and kissed it hard. Wu Yanxi. White sandalwood. Wu Yanxi was sour. Isn't this the picture of her fantasy that the book is there? At the same time, the Yanwang dynasty. Zui Hall, in the imperial study. I, devour Saint Venerable Cloud Chuan, devour the Lord of the Temple, once again announced that the devouring temple will join the Zhang family of Lingzhou domain of the Dongshuan domain and join the Yanwang dynasty. The voice of Yun Xuanjian came, causing Yi Shi, who was reviewing the play, to suddenly raise his head, and a brilliant light shot out of his phoenix eyes. She felt that the fire phoenix of luck in the Dantian was burning from a distance. Boom! A vast and majestic phoenix roar suddenly sounded. Yi Shi felt a phoenix shadow with a flame aura emerging from the Dantian, flying above her head, turning into dozens of Zhang, and in a flash, the flame 04 flame light was not short and high, as if it could burn everything. The coercion is amazing. The phoenix and the golden dragon both have the ultimate imperial majesty and have an extremely noble status among the fierce beasts. At this time, the luck fire phoenix actually skyrocketed, representing the growth of the luck of this Yanwang dynasty again, which represented the increase in strength and majesty. Xian, most holy, devour the temple, the remnants of a holy place are lucky. 95. Fujun really surprises me. 35. So, Yi Shi took a deep breath, and a fire appeared in his phoenix eyes. Although she claims to be the Divine Mansion realm, it is actually the Jaden realm, which is still one step away from the Divine Mansion realm. The reason why we do not break through is just to lay a better foundation. But at this time, her luck skyrocketed, and the most important thing was the essence improvement, and her Zui Phoenix physical quality had also been greatly improved, which was already comparable to the king body. The foundation should not be too stable. Then break through. Yi Shi made absolutely. Click. It was as if something was broken, and a mighty phoenix rose in her dantian. The terrifying phoenix roar stirred in her body. For a time, the endless power of the fire phoenix filled the Zui phoenix's body. A sense of power that has never been felt before, an innate majesty, emerges strongly. Yi Zai's king actually began to become more and more intense. Majestic, noble, invincible. At this moment, she was covered in the aura of flames. With every breath, she is getting stronger. Jaden began to metamorphose like a holy rune, which is a large-scale evolution. This is the metamorphosis of the level of life. This process is very smooth and overbearing. In the blink of an eye, the aura on Yi Zai's body directly broke through the limit of the Jaden realm and reached the Divine Mansion realm. At this moment, she felt that a look of her could erase the real person of the Jaden realm. But that's just the beginning. The Luck Fire Phoenix is still getting stronger, and the flames are less in the dantian. God's house has become. It is thousands of times stronger than Jindan, and the aura that can be contained is increased by 100 times. In the Divine Mansion, the 2 souls and 7 spirits were combined, and the Divine Soul emerged. Zui Phoenix body, the physique can withstand the power of luck. At this moment, the physical body also began to transform. Evolve. A powerful aura emanated from Yi Zai's body, causing her skin to be dyed with a strange luster at this moment, like flames. In the blink of an eye, her body was already strong enough to be stronger than a heavenly rank fierce beast. There was a fire phoenix aura coming out of her body, and yes, her attack power was stronger than most heaven rank fierce beasts. The aura skyrocketed all the way until it was at the peak of the Divine Mansion realm. Yi Shi felt his chi and blood boiling. This kind of power, too strong. This king is comparable to a fierce beast. Yi Ziqian clenched her fists and made a crisp sound of, card wipe, card wipe. Give it a try. Yi Shi returned to the secret realm with a thought, took a step forward, and then blasted out with a punch. A very simple punch, without using any martial arts, purely relying on strength. Boom. This punch burst out, and a phoenix roared out, accompanied by the shadow of the fire phoenix. Space seems to be distorted. The terrifying offensive easily covers hundreds of feet. If you compress it further, it can be stronger. A smile appeared at the corner of Yi Zai's mouth. Her strength is at least 10 times higher than that of the Jaden realm. Fujun, when you come back, Zaire will definitely treat you, have a big fight. 359. Yi Zai's eyes were full of battle intent. The other side. Zhang Chushuan let go of the cloud and smiled. It seems that although it is a soul body, it feels good. Wait for me to gather my body, try again. The clouds fell generously. Devouring the holy venerable, there is no little daughter posture. In fact, Yun Xuanjian is sickly and familiar. Either you don't love, and if you fall in love, it's the only eternal one. That is, Zhang Chushuan already has a main palace, and there are descendants. Yun Xuanjian is a latecomer, so he will behave well, and he will only keep his heart unchanged in the future. Otherwise, Zhang Chushuan may have happy troubles. Okay, you guys can finish. 99. Abusing a single dog is not a good act. Wu Yanxi inserted himself between the two, and then stretched out his right hand in front of Yun Xuanjian, and a treacherous smile appeared on his face. Sister Yun, you lost. Saint-level top martial arts, take it out. All right, willing to lose the bet. Yun Xuanjian has a smooth personality, plus he is in a good mood now, and he is not stingy with sage-level martial arts. After a deep groan, she curtsied a little. Suddenly, a ray of light quickly flew into Wu Yanxi's forehead. A large amount of information emerged, and Wu Yanxi passively closed her eyes. After waiting for more than a dozen breaths, she opened her eyes again, and her face was full of joy. It's great. Then there is no follow-up. Seeing this, Baitaner asked curiously, Wu Yanxi, what martial arts have you got? It's a secret. Wu Yanxi grinned proudly. How stingy. Isn't it a saint-level top martial art? Baitaner said unhappily as if no one had. She saw that she was a descendant of the imperial family, and could it be that it would be rare to be a saint-level martial artist? Imperial martial arts is just like that. So you have. Why don't you take out a copy? Wu Yanxi stretched out her green onion jade finger. Baitaner opened her mouth, speechless. She can only have none now. Cut. Wu Yanxi was very proud, and said with a smile, I asked you to take a handful just now. You were not happy, you missed a top martial arts book, right? Baitaner was speechless. It's infuriating. This Wu Yanxi, after releasing herself, felt that her skin was particularly itchy. Okay. 9. Don't say it yet. Suspecting that the two would fight again, Zhang Chushuan stood up and played around, and then smiled at Yun Xuanxiao. Speaking of which, the bet between you and me, it seems that I also won. You won? That thing of yours, what? Yun Xuanxian nodded calmly. What do you want? I hope to write more poses in the future. Zhang Chushuan said silently in his heart, with a gentle smile on the surface, and said softly, you are all mine. Then just, let's talk about it later. I'll talk to you when I think of it. 330. Yun Xuanjian always felt that Zhang Chushuan had bad intentions, and stared at him suspiciously for several seconds, and finally nodded and agreed. Zhang Chushuan took a deep look at Yun Xuanjian, found that the feeling of black holes in her eyes was much thinner, and asked, you shouldn't be able to use the devouring pupil now, right? The devouring pupil is the awakening of the rune inheritance and must be used in conjunction with the devouring rune. Yun Xuanjian nodded slightly, and his heart became more and more shocked at the speed at which Zhang Chushuan refining the holy rune. However, solving the sealed 7th Emperor Venerable, and devouring the holy rune also found the 3rd inheritor, which can be said to have a happy ending. When the devouring rune is refined, I believe you will have it again. 99. But not now. The trip to the secret realm was a successful end, and Zhang Chushuan had already left early. There are still a few juniors in the family who are in this secret realm, and I have to find them first and then leave. What about you? Hearing this question, Yun Xuanjian was obviously stunned for a moment. Sealing evil demons with his body for tens of thousands of years, now only remnants of souls remain, and devouring the temple has completely become history. It was too long, and she seemed to have nothing left. A sad color flashed in his eyes, and Yun Xuanxian shook his head and replied, I don't know, I want to see the world for the time being. Have you thought of a direction? Not yet. With a confused look in his eyes again, Yun Xuanjian said, the current continent is still very strange to me. It's better to. You go to the Yanwang dynasty first. Zhang Chushuan's heart moved, and said. Wu Yanxi and Bai Ten'er and their daughters suddenly showed strange expressions. You two have been like this just now, where is Yun Xuanjian going to the Yanwang dynasty? Be all abroad. Well, let's go and see it first. Yun Xuanxian nodded slightly and agreed to come down. Zhang Chushuan was not surprised by this, and said to the truth, well, let's go find a few juniors in the family first, and then go back together. In the family first, and then go back together. In the family first, and then go